The Horrible Gamers podcast may contain content not suitable for all ages. Listener discretion is advised.
Welcome to the Horrible Gamers podcast, episode 476, February 17th. Welcome, guys. My name is Gunny Chief, aka Henley. Welcome, Mayo. Welcome. How's it going over there?
Good. It's a little chilly over here today. We've had some cold weather, a little more snow again, unfortunately. I think Ryan can keep it up there. You know, I don't like that snow stuff. You can have it.
Yeah, snow. Jesus, he might make it tonight, guys. He might be here. We'll see. We'll see how it goes.
We'll see.
So,
yeah.
you know,
who knows with him?
Last week I was nowhere to be found. I had shit to do, you know. So, little mini vacation. I'm still kind of on it, so I'm off the next couple of days to do some gaming, play some Avowed. But yeah, man, I was in the snow this weekend. I don't know. Did I send you any pictures of me in snow this weekend? I don't think I did.
No.
So yeah, I was up in Reno and Virginia City. I feel like I'm the only one that's like never been there of like all my friends and everyone I know who lives in Northern California. I'm like, you guys been to Virginia City? It's like a little small, like old mining town.
Okay.
Like everything's really old Western and it's still got like the wooden sidewalks and shit to it.
Oh, okay.
But it was really nice. It was a good experience. I liked it. Like going to these like little antique style type shops and, you know, yeah, just like cowboy crap over there. So it was cool. But man, I tell you, like just being in Reno, probably at like whatever, like there was no snow there and it was chilly, but when we got to Virginia City, I'm wearing a long sleeve shirt, you know, but damn, was I cold, man. But yeah, it wasn't snowing or whatever. Like there was a lot of snow where you couldn't park your car, that sort of thing. But anyway, we're here to talk about video games, guys. Go follow us over here on the X @_horriblegamers over on the X Twitters. Leave us a review on iTunes over there. Give us 5 stars. And Spotify. I don't know if you can still do it on Spotify, but I think you can still, as a mobile user, give us some stars over there on the Spotify application.
I think you can.
You listen. Yeah, I haven't done it in a while, but check that out for those Spotify listeners. And we do have a Facebook group, Horrible Gamers Podcast Community. That's over at facebook.com/groups/Horrible Gamers. But probably the best way to follow us is over here on Discord. So that's where a lot of our interactions are happening. And, you know, that's for the new kids, Mayo, this Discord thing. That's where it's at. But yeah, go over there, buy some stuff on Redbubble, redbubble.com. Pretty cool little place. You can buy some stickers, some socks with our logos on it, by the way. I think you can still get the clock with our 3 faces. So you can see us every day.
It should still be there.
We need like an HGP watch, right? That would be cool.
That'd be nice.
You know, then you can see us all the damn time.
And if I remember right, my daughter drew those faces with that clock.
That's right. She did. Yeah. Like she came up with a couple of things that we were like, perfect. Send that over to Redbubble. That was cool. So yeah. It kind of reminds me of Mail. Like it reminds me of what is that tire store? Like 3 Guys or something like that. You know what I'm talking about?
No.
I don't know if that still exists, but that's how old I am. But yeah, that was something like 3 Guys Automotive or Tire Store or some shit like that. So that's what that reminds me of. But anyway, guys, yeah, intro song's done by Phantom Mac, Twister, and Fowlex. Breakout, and our outro song is probably Broke for Free, Night Owl. So, but anyway, let's talk about some video games that we've played. For me, Mail, since I've been out of town for the last several days or whatever, and then I don't usually game on Thursdays and Fridays just due to work. But yeah, definitely earlier after last week's show, I did get Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. So, and I believe you said you're playing this now, that you did bought it and you have been playing it.
Yeah, I picked it up the night Jesus and I recorded last week. So that evening I picked it up, and I didn't start playing it for a couple of days. But we'll let you talk about
But
it
yeah,
first here
so
real quick, and
here's kind of my
I'll
take
chime
on it.
in.
Like I definitely get like the Skyrim, Oblivion kind of vibes from it.
Mhm.
And but just a preface. So we did a show over on over there on what's the other Crafty's
Happy
podcast over there?
Happy hour?
Happy Hour. So yeah, so that was cool. Like we did a
Video game happy hour.
yeah. So then that was a pretty extensive, like I had just bought the game at that point. But and Jesus talked about it quite a bit, and what's the other gentleman's name? I'll remember his name after, but he had played like a ton of that first game. Like I think he said he put like
Was
100 hours
it
into the game.
like City Slicker, or
It
I
was
can't remember
City
if the other one
Slicker.
was on there?
Yeah. So City Slicker, I did reach out to him as well. So but yeah, I know he's probably going to put 100 hours into this game. And so if you did listen to that one, I would say also that like it just that very sim kind of game, like leveling everything up, and what you guys talked about last week about the time that it takes to finish the game.
Mhm.
I did speak to Leahy in our Discord, who's been a longtime member, and he said, yeah, Henley, he goes, definitely, like he got to that point, because I asked this question in our Discord. He goes, yeah, you'll get to a point if you try to mainline the story, which you cannot. It will say, hey, are you sure you want to continue? Because basically, like he said, yeah, if you haven't leveled up like any of your skills enough to continue with the game, like he said, you can continue, but it probably won't work, unless you've got some kind of mods installed on your shit, So, yeah, that's where I was like, wait a minute, why can you not finish this game in under 55 or whatever hours or whatever? So, yeah, and that probably has a lot to do with like a lot of your skills, right? So whether it's fighting or sword fighting or whatever it might be. So, and I assume when you're taking on 5 or 6 soldiers, right? It's not going to end well for you. But yeah, so kind of my experience like going into this was without checking like a lot of guides or YouTube channels or whatever. I just thought, hey, I'm just going to kind of start fresh and see how it goes. And I'm not going to spoil any story elements to the game. So, but I will say this, like, I'm probably maybe 12 hours into the game, and I still feel like it hasn't really clicked with me.
Yeah.
I don't know. Does that make sense, man? Like, you should feel like 12 hours. You should know if you freaking love this game or not. But I'm still like I don't know, on the
Still on
fence
the
about
fence,
it.
huh?
I feel like I'm still on the fence about it. Like, it's just not. Yeah, I'm not saying it's not clicking with me, but it's almost like like how far do I want to continue with this game? Like it. Okay, I feel like I've made like little to no progress in the game. So, because there is just shit in this game that just doesn't tell you anything, Like, I will go to like a YouTube video, say, go talk to this person first, and then that'll open up, some dialogue to kind of, get you to where you need to go next or whatever. I'm like, where the hell is that? Like, where do I need to go next? Is that what I have to do? Like, like Jesus has been talking about this thing about the wedding or whatever. I feel like that's like probably 30 or 40 freaking hours from now, because there's like so many other things that you have to do.
Yeah, I'm not. You're still further along than I am. I only played a little bit. I didn't pick it up until I picked it up last week, but I didn't start playing it for like a couple of days. I jumped on Indiana Jones as well, and so I played that a little bit. But then I was also trying to work on metaphors. But I'll jump into that later. But like, I haven't made it to that little title screen yet, so I think I'm getting close to that part. But I'm like basically haven't gotten to the first little title splash screen yet.
I feel like I want to say that's probably less than an hour into the game.
I figure it's probably close to an hour.
Yeah, I feel like it's under that. So before that, it's a lot of dialogue, and there are, and since I didn't play the first one, but there's a lot of like, not a lot. I feel like there's a little bit of memories of the first game. I'll call them
Yeah,
memories, is what
that's
they
kind of what
are,
I
or
got.
flashbacks.
I just ended at the scene where you kind of fight a guy and you fall off a cliff, and then you wake up. You're kind of hurt, and you wake up. You end up at this lady's house, and you're like passing in and out. You probably remember it. And then Hans kind of like jumps out the door, and you're like Hans, and you black
Oh, he
out and
goes
wake
after
back
that
up.
other guy. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's where I stopped. So
Okay. Yeah, it's not far past that you'll get that splash screen of Welcome to Kingdom Come Deliverance too. So um and then yeah, and not shortly after that, before you enter this town and some other stuff kind of goes down. I think Jesus has kind of spoiled that a little bit about, Hans just being all, I'm a lord, I cannot work, I thought that was kind of interesting too. That was a very interesting part where he's like, oh, I just can't be caught working, So yeah, why don't you go work? And then I was like, yeah, I guess so. I guess I'll go work, right? And then, and then he starts shit with the village people. And I'm like, oh, are you freaking serious? I was like, oh my, this can't be happening, right? So that was kind of a interesting moment, I'll say, with the game. And I'm like, what? What the fuck, man? I'm over here working and you're over here starting shit, So
I
just
feel
running
like
your mouth.
I feel like the draw to me to the game is like kind of the interaction, the way your character like the charm of the game in general. Like there's something about like there's a little bit like what do you expect them to say something really weird or kind of funny next or something weird happens, like they've had different situations where like that one time when they're bathing, and they see the girls, they're like, "Come on, let's go see these girls," and you're like sneaking over there, then you just see never, this little fight kick on, but it seems like those two are kind of like always kind of getting in trouble.
Yeah,
And
yeah. And they
so it's
seem,
like kind of like an adventure in a way, but they seem kind of goofy and lighthearted.
yes,
But then the game is so like hardcore sim at the same time, so you're like, which one is it? But
but it's
that's what
not
I like
dark
about it.
though, right? It's not a dark game because to me, it's like, I get it where people feel like, um, them being in the Czech Republic, but uh, the one of the vibes that people are kind of getting off this, I think even might have been Crafty that even said it, that that Xbox game that I never really played, that it's they're very jolly, right? Like there's a good word for it, very jolly, mate. And
Okay.
yeah, like even though like some serious shit is kind of happening, like they're still okay.
Yeah.
I guess I expect them. I expect Henry and Capon to be just angry, and we'll fucking kill them, or whatever. But they're not, like that's just not who they are.
No,
So
they're very laid back. But like I
yeah,
said,
yeah,
that's some of the charm I like about it. Like it's um the interaction between them is just kind of funny and lighthearted, and you're like, oh, that's kind of interesting. What's going to happen next? Kind of thing.
yeah, and and I guess you have to. I would say it's probably best, and this is I don't think I might actually do it, is maybe go back and watch like a recap. I'm sure there's a YouTube video out there that
Oh, I'm
kind of
sure.
shows like, hey, before you play this game, go watch this, 40-minute video of, it
Yeah,
probably
and
gives you a good idea of their relationship and what Henry's been through up until this point.
yeah, and I didn't play the first game either, and so I'm lost to it. But I just kind of let it go. I'm like, all right, I know I'm gonna get on this little grand adventure, and I just kind of knew it at that. So like the backstory, I just was kind of like not too concerned with,
Yeah. And
for
so
me at least.
and for anybody that's listening, I do not see anything in here like you would see like in a Mass Effect where it's like, do you want to play this like video that shows everything leading up into this point? Like I guess that would have been cool, if they had put that in there,
Right.
because there is a point, I think, when they, and not too far into the game, where they ask you like kind of like, who do you like, not who do you support, but like who do you agree with, like the Cumans or that other faction or whatever. And I think I just chose Eeny Meeny Miny Mo because I'm like, I don't know, the Cumans, right? And that's yeah, like, and I'm like, I don't know, maybe if I had watched a recap video, like it would have given me a better idea of who I want to side with or something. I don't know if that choice is going to be, meaningful going forward. So, um, but yeah, like, oh, and I'll say this, Mail, like, when Jesus talks about like, breaking into houses and stuff and, going in and stealing things or whatever, like, yeah, a lot of stuff, I just want to point out, like, a lot of stuff is in chest, right? So you will need like those lock picks, not only to get into these doors, um, even if you went in the daytime where the doors are unlocked or whatever, and people are kind of moving in and out or whatever, like, you still got the chest to kind of get into, right? So, but probably best that you do it at nighttime, so everybody's sleeping, so you can rob them of their stuff and their of their chest as well. So yeah,
Yeah,
it's
I haven't
not.
gotten that part. I heard Jesus talking about it, kind of like how he was going through and robbing the town and kind of his process of doing that, but I haven't tried yet 'cause like I said, I haven't gotten that far, but
Yeah, but this has kind of been my experience. So, and this will kind of add to like some of the things where I'm like, I don't know how this game works or whatever. But like, for example, I first start out right, and you'll be in this town, Mayo, shortly, very shortly. You'll be there, probably in the next hour and a half, 2 hours. So, some shit goes down, and like Jesus said, what's his name, Capon or whatever, he takes off. He's all pissed, right? But I think this is after like they put you. I forgot what it's called, man. What's that thing where they put your hands and your head through that like wooden device or
is it a
whatever?
guillotine?
It's not a guillotine because I think that's where they chop your head off. But it's
Yeah.
I'll just call them locks because I forgot the actual name of it. So it's kind of like, hey, you're going to jail, but then they put you in that thing outside, and then every time that you go into that thing or whatever, they just leave you overnight, and then you reek, you do stink, right? Everybody's like, "Oh, take a fucking bath, you scoundrel!" Right?
Right.
So then, yeah, as soon as that happened, Mayo, as soon as they did that, and then I think, and then he went on his way or whatever, and then it was like, okay, I guess I'll just go look around the town and peek into things or whatever. Not even 5 minutes later, Mayo, that what happens is, and it's something I just continue to forget. If you go try to like, I don't know, steal from somebody or, take a piece of bread from anybody or anything, it doesn't matter what it is, right? You just can't have anything, it seems, right? Like there's nothing free in this game. That's probably a good way to put it. Like there's no free beer, no free milk, right? Like, yeah, if you even like pick that thing up and it'll be like, what are you doing? Like, you can't do that or whatever. And they'll go report you. Right. Um, like, and I'll be like, oh shit, let me eat the evidence. I'll eat this piece of bread. Nope, that ain't going to work because the guard will go on about, you know what? We're going to search you now, but you're still going to pay the consequences and you're going in the locks or whatever. Like you're basically going to jail. So I'm like, oh, what? No, come on. Right. So then boom, I was back in it again. And then of course, anytime that happens, like your reputation goes down. So there's that. And then, so then now I'm in that first town and I'm like, well, shit, I'm trying to get a job to make money. Right. I want to be an honest Andy here. Right. Like kind of do it the right way.
I think that's where I stopped. I think the lady told me I had to work for her, and that's where I turned it off. So maybe I did wake up and I went and I started in the town or whatever.
Yeah. Like, okay, you're probably talking about the bartender or whatever they call her.
Yeah.
Where you have to move the sacks of grain.
Yeah, I haven't done that yet, but
okay. I think you still might be in that village where that lady is. Did you talk to her daughter? Is her daughter there yet? Okay, so you're not in the town yet. So you will be soon. It doesn't take long after you speak to her and her daughter who comes home. And I think she's a nurse. I could be wrong, but yeah, like she'll send you on your way and you guys will venture to this town. Like it just kind of, like it's not like you have to travel there or whatever. You just end up there. But yeah, like, and it's like, okay, I don't know what to do next. Like even now that I smell or whatever, because you might think there are like these little wash basins around. Like every town probably has like 2 or 3 of these, like, barrels of water where you can wash your face. And it basically just says like, hey, this is as good as it's going to get for you being clean or whatever. So you probably still smell, but at least you're not like a scoundrel, right? Mm-hmm. So Yeah, like in order for you to do that, you would have to literally go either pay for a bathhouse or you have to find soap. You could probably buy it from merchants or I think I stole the last one or whatever. Like it was just right there by the like this little pond. Not every town has a pond, right? And then basically you're kind of doing it for free because you have your own bar of soap, right? And that's where you're just smelling your best, but you still look like a peasant, right? Because you don't have, like Jesus said, you don't have that like clothing to show that you're, you're noble or you're just like, oh, okay, you're okay, you don't look like a fucking hobo. So, but at
Right.
least you're not looked down upon, right? Like I am most of the time, right? So, um, and that's probably why I'm like, damn, I want to do like what Jesus did, and find a lot of this like great clothing or whatever. So at least I can be, you know, looked up to or whatever, right? Like, yeah, I don't know, but yeah, like, so there is like, um, I'll just kind of fast forward to a part where I'm like, I was watching this video about knocking down like these, it'll say like you found a bird's nest, right? And I'm like, where's this bird's nest at? Okay. Oh, okay. It's probably up in the tree somewhere, right? Like, oh, okay, I think I see it up in the tree. And it'll kind of mark the location on the map. And then so I'm like, oh, I probably have to get a crossbow, and that'll probably be another 10 fucking hours from now to where I could actually purchase one, right? Like, but then I was watching this video, like, no, you can just take the stones and you can throw them at these birds' nests, right? So here I am, Mayo, thinking like, oh, where do I get these stones? Like, where the hell are they? And I'm like, I think I Google or Reddited it, and it's like, oh, they're stones are found by trees or something. And I'd go by these trees and I'm trying to pick up any kind of stones that I can. Like nothing. I can't pick anything up, right?
Uh-huh.
So I think I even put it on the YouTube video. I'm like, where the fuck do I get stones to throw or whatever? And somebody like, and I think I went and played the game and just could not figure it out, Mayo, for like 20 minutes. I'm like just going everywhere throughout the forest and, along the roadways. And I'm like, all I can find is like a lot of like these different flowers that I can make potions and but no stones. So then I think I just went on like an adventure. I just got bored. I was like, fuck this, right? So then I just started walking around and I think that was like the coolest part, right? That's where it really felt like some Skyrim to me, where it's like, okay, yeah, you've discovered a new town and like, you get to kind of, go throughout it, and they weren't very large or whatever. Some of them were just like small villages, or I found like a cool castle that I couldn't get into, of course. But yeah, and I was trying to like, okay, I don't want to click on, talk to too many people that might give me too many quests, or I'm too far away that something might be timed. Yeah, so there's that where, yeah, I just went and talked to them and like, yeah, didn't click on their quest. I didn't want my shit filling up or whatever, but I thought that part was cool. So, but yeah, anytime you kind of get out there, Mail, like out in the world, you can easily just fast travel back to whatever city you were
Good.
in. Right? Like that part's pretty easy. It just kind of shows your character like walking or whatever. Yeah, maybe so much time might pass where he might be a little hungry, where you'll have to like, either find or steal some food, which is what I've ended up doing. Or like Jesus said, I finally found out like where the honeycombs are, which are pretty nutritious. So I'll probably be, what I think I'll be doing, Mail, is I'll probably be sending you like little videos here and there to go, all right, Mail, this is where the honeycombs are. This is where things are where you can get food easily or whatever when nobody's looking, right? Without actually purchasing it. But I guess I've made some progress, right? Where I was able to first start doing a lot of potion crafting, or alchemy as they call it. So like I was just making a lot of basic potions of, hey, this one heals you up 30% over this much time, or yeah, those are, I forgot what that one's actually called, but the savior schnapps or whatever, I think you need like this one ingredient, so that really it's really hard to kind of find throughout the world. So you'll have to like purchase it from a vendor. So, or a merchant is what you'll have to get it. So, but you can do that, Mayo, by just making simple potions, then go into the merchant, sell the basics, and then buy that one ingredient to make the save your schnapps one. Right? Because that'll actually save the game. So, and there was some other stuff that I was running across where I'm like, oh, okay, this video shows that like if you go to this blacksmith, he'll give you a free bed because there kind of is a bed in the first town that you go to, Mayo, and I'll show you where that one's at.
Okay.
And that whole time, I think that first 7 hours of me playing that game, I kept thinking like, oh, this is saving the game, you know? That's cool. I'm really tired. I need to sleep because your freaking eyes are closing, right? I'm like,
Right.
all right,
I
let me go
remember
to my
Jesus
bed.
telling me.
Yeah. And I kept thinking like, cool, let me go to my bed. I'll just run over there and, sleep for, I don't know, whatever, 3, 4. I usually sleep till like 6 a.m. That's when kind of everybody's awake. So, and that's when, yeah, you kind of want to talk to people when they're awake, right? It's like a freaking real life here, Everybody stays up from like 6 to 9 or 6 to 10 p.m. or something. Like they all go to bed at the same time. But yeah, I'll just go in there, sleep till 6, wake up. You're feeling refreshed. You're obviously a little hungry. I don't think you get thirsty. I could be wrong on that. I think it's just more of a hunger meter. And yeah, I did. I think I was talking to Jesus about this where I said, "Oh man, like I must have ate like a rotten fruit or whatever," and it just kept showing like my nutrition going way down,
Oh yeah, I
And it
remember
was
him mentioning on the show last week. He was talking about like his character got sick and he had to go take like a potion or something.
yeah, because what it'll do, I noticed what it does. Like it just shows your nutrition level going down, 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 down. So then I kept like trying to eat. Okay, here's what I did once, Mayo, was I think I had like a bunch of food on me and I kept eating it. And I was like, fuck. I didn't have that potion. I think I knew how to make it. It did show as like, because basically I pulled up like this little wiki guide and it just kind of shows you like how to make these potions, right? It doesn't show me where to find everything, like all the different, like, all the different flowers or whatever. Like, but I was like, oh, okay, I can actually make that now if I have it. So I think I've got one in my inventory. So, but everything's kind of in that first town. Like I feel like there's a lot of, ingredients and stuff in there without actually purchasing it to kind of make your basic potions. So, but what I ended up doing, Mayo, was I ended up like just kind of eating food. And I was like, fuck, you know what? I wonder if I actually go to this bed and just lay down or whatever. And then shit, sure enough, like I actually woke up feeling refreshed. Like it was just like a real life thing where like, yeah, like you're not sick anymore, Like I thought it was going to be like a deal where I die in my sleep, like it says game over, retry, but nope, actually worked. So I think it would have made maybe the difference of like, maybe it probably would have maybe pass out, right? Like as if you were actually not sick or just like so exhausted, tired. And I think the game even tells you, which is kind of neat. So let's say, Mail, if you're in this town and you just kind of fall on the roadway, right? Like you just don't sleep, right? You will pass out and it'll say like, hey, if you just pass out in a bad neighborhood, you're going to get robbed. They'll just come up and rob you when you're fucking passed out on the road. So yeah, make sure like go pass out behind a building or something, like if you can't find a bed or whatever, don't do it like when you're, on a trail or where people are. So yeah, they'll be like, they'll fucking rob your shit, man. They'll take your money. So, which I was like, what, really? This game's hardcore, man.
Yeah, it's definitely hardcore. But like I said, but it has that little bit of weird humor to it. Like, so as we were talking about it here, I pulled it up on Steam, right, Gunny? And the first couple of things I seen, there's an article in here that they sold 2 million copies already. That's a pretty good start,
Didn't Alan Wake just hit 2 million? I think, right?
Maybe.
I think it just
I'm not sure.
recently. Yeah.
But besides that, I'm looking at like the news articles, right? And the very latest one, this happened hit today on Monday, is they did an official live action movie. The It says the scripted live action series starting the two voices, the lead actors of Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 bring together their Henry and Hans buddy chemistry from 1403 to a modern day setting. And it's a link. I put it in the Discord. There's a YouTube video. They do a whole little play that's in modern day with kind of like the Henry and Hans voices and stuff. The way it looks. I haven't watched it
Oh,
yet,
cool.
but I linked it. Linked it
Okay.
in the Discord. But then the other thing, Jesus, are going. This is right up your alley. There are mods coming. So
Yes, I
it says
heard.
official modding is coming to Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. And in their little picture that shows like a striped red and white colored looking zebra slash horse. So are you excited with like mods? Would mods make this game for you, Gunny?
It's kind of like, I think it's a good and bad thing for me because I don't want to feel like I will be so tempted to be like, cool, there's a mod with baby mode, right? I'll be like, I don't want it to ruin my experience, But
Right.
yeah, I think I know what's going to end up happening is I'll probably be like, hey, I think I'm doing really good, but I feel like it's not coming fast enough for me, after like 30 hours in. And I'll be like, I'm doing all right, but then let me download this mod to get me more gold. I feel like, boom, that's exactly what I'm going to do. Because I'm going to want more gold, right? So get me more gold with this mod. And yeah, or anything else in there. Because I freaking love mods on the PC. That's one of my favorite things. So yeah, I'm going to probably try them all, Mail, is what I'll
Yeah.
do. I'll
In
be
the
talking
picture,
about that.
I just realized too in the picture on the in the horse that he's on, he's also holding a fish in his hand for like a weapon. He's got it by the tail, so it looks like he's getting ready to like swing it. He's got a
Oh,
dagger in
nice.
one hand and he's got a fish in the other hand while he's riding the horse.
So when they say official, I assume that means like on the Steam page
Yeah, I was looking on
itself
the
is
workshop to
official.
see. I was
Yeah.
looking to see in the workshop, but I did not see anything. But I think
Yeah.
Nexus Mods has some stuff already.
I'm sure
Um,
they do, and I'm not going to mess with those. I don't think, not for a while. I feel like I'm going to play this game vanilla for quite some time before I touch Nexus or Vortex or whatever they call it now. I'm going to hold off on that. So, yeah, but yeah, I don't know, man. So if I didn't say so already, I feel like starting the game over because I okay, so I'm doing this quest, man. I'm doing this quest where I'm trying to help this guy find the cart. And I think Jesus talked about this quest or whatever. Is it even a side quest? I don't even know what's a side quest, what's a main. But you're trying to help the blacksmith find his cart that two guys took off with. And so you have to go to this other town and you have to talk to these lords or nobles or whatever and say, yeah, man, basically what happened was the guys they're from here or whatever. They're your guys that stole the cart or something. And they just never freaking returned it or whatever. So, and I don't even think you know where the cart is in the world. Like it doesn't, I don't even think that part pops up. But what happened, Mayo, is the Lord's like, all right, okay, we believe you so far. So here's what we need to do. So you need to go get on a horse and like you'll follow us out there. And I'm like, but I don't have a horse, right? So this is kind of where what's the name of your horse from the first game? I forgot its name. But
I don't know.
like that's where you can get your horseback or whatever. But for a fee, of course, right? So and I'm like, yeah, I don't have a horse. And then the Lord's like, well, you're not riding the back of my fucking horse. That's too weird or what. Right? Well, you're gonna look stupid. I ain't letting you on the back of my horse. So go get your own damn horse. And then you come back and talk to me. And I'm like, shit, I need at least like $150, right? Or whatever the currency they call it in this game. Like
Right.
I think I need like that's like the minimum that I need to actually buy my horse back. Probably the cheapest horse in the game, right? To begin with. So, and I'm like, all right. So, because I already tried it before where I tried to convince the horse handler, like, give me my horse back. That was you got a stolen horse. And then he didn't believe me. I must have chose like the wrong dialogue option. But he's like, nah, you fucking pay me for that horse now. I don't think you have a connection with that horse. I'm like, fuck. So, and then I've only got like $13 in my account. And I'm like, all right. Well, then I kind of go back up there to where the lords are, and they've got like some pretty valuable stuff, like just kind of laying on the table, like silver cups, and there's like a little pantry where basically like if you whatever it is on the controller, if you hold down like that A button, you're there to look or steal or whatever. You're there to view the items within it. Well, man, what I forgot was like, even if you are viewing the items, you're basically a potential thief. You're a thief in their eyes, right? To anybody.
Just because you're looking at it?
Just because you're looking at it. And I'm like, oh,
studying it?
shit. Yeah, I did that. And I'm like, oh, man, I screwed up, right? Because the one guy went and got the Lord and he came over and he's like, oh, what are you doing? What the hell? Like, you're going down. I'm like, I didn't take anything. You know, I didn't touch nothing. We're going to search you and pat you down and take anything that's stolen in your inventory. And yeah, so what do? They send me back to the other fucking town where I started at, put me in the locks again. Right? You know, I'm wearing like my hobo clothes again. And I'm like, shit, like reputation lost. Right? So I'm like, I'm not going to do that again, especially if somebody's looking. Cause it kind of reminds me of like this, like, you kind of get like a little bit of a, not Hitman, because Hitman, you kind of get the outline of, you know, the guard that's going to be walking in the door, you know, like he's on a timer, right? Like, you know, like, yeah, you know, when they're going to come back or how long they're going to stay gone or whatever, when you're in a certain room. Uh-huh. So, you know, if you do it right, like you probably could get away with stealing something, and what's kind of cool about this game too, was like, I did steal some things earlier and it's like, I ran in the other room real quick. Like, hey, what are you doing? What are you doing? Right. Or you can just run away. If you run away long enough, right, then if only like one guard saw you or almost saw you, you can pretty much get away with it, man. Like you can, yeah, it'll kind of show you on your HUD too, that like they're looking and searching for you, but only for so long. Right. And then they'll stop looking for you. So that's kind of cool too. Right. Where, yeah, you'd be like, ooh, I almost got caught, you know? But no, they caught me red-handed. So then I think I went back to the blacksmith and like, you know, spent the night. And then, you know, because, yeah, I was like, oh, shit. So then let me go back and see what they say about that mission. Well, crap, you know, when I went back there, they're like, well, since you never followed us on your horse, I don't want to talk to you at all. Just get out of here. And I was like, oh, shit, right? So then I think it even says like, go talk to the other Lord, right? But he was in the dining hall. So I went up to him and I'm like, hey, so what about that? What about that missing cart? Bugger off, you scoundrel. You never came with us. So why the fuck should we help you? You know? So now I'm like stuck, you know, I'm like, reputation sucks or whatever. Because anytime, man, you're in like a camp or a village or any of those places, they don't forget. Right? They will like forgive you probably later on. And I think it even shows you at the bottom of your screen of like, we remember what you did. Right? So that's another cool option. I think like even that bartender, Mel, you're going to find out she's going to be like, you know, I'm kind of pissed off at you right now. Go away or whatever. I don't want to talk to you, but she will forgive. These people will forgive you, you know, after a couple, 2 or 3 days, I think. So yeah, there is that punishment.
Good to know.
Yeah, like there's some helpful tips because I'm like, yeah, you know, what am I going to do? I guess I should go sleep for 2 days or whatever. And then they won't be so angry at me or upset or, yeah. So, but I feel like I've kind of reached that point where I haven't done so much of the game. I feel like I want to keep my reputation good for the most part. And, you know, I've watched enough YouTube videos or whatever, or some helpful hints where I'm like, okay, start the game over, like without, you know, trying to get caught or, you know, have too much of a negative reputation. So, and I kind of know where things are now, man, where I feel like I can unlock them, you know, a good part of that fog of war on the map, you know, pretty easily. So
have you experienced the thing that Jesus talked about? I can't remember if he talked about it in our show last week, but he was talking about where like the fog of war would come back. Like he said he would like explore to an area and then he would open it up again and he would like, basically the game would show it was like foggy again.
I think I did.
I know I've been there.
Yeah, I think that happened to me I was playing Wednesday, and I think when I went to open the map again, I was like, huh, that's odd. Like, yeah, I thought I unlocked that part. But yeah, that might be like a bug or something where that's happened. So And the first thing that I thought of, that happens to be in Diablo 4 all the freaking time. Yeah, where I'm like, I unlocked that shit, and that shit's all foggy again. But I don't even have a horse in Diablo 4, so yeah, that's probably like level 50 or something. But back to Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. Yeah, yeah, another helpful tip I would say, maybe if you don't have those savior schnapps or whatever, or you didn't visit the blacksmith yet, um, or let's say that you're not doing like a main mission where I think those when the game does automatically save, when you start one or complete one, and I feel like they are along. So one of the other options is, and it kind of sucks, man, and that is be like, okay, I might enter a place where I'm probably gonna die or something, right? Where I don't have any real fighting skills. Just leave the game and come back, right? And I think that works the same way on console as it does on PC. Save and quit. So it just
Yeah, I'm
automatically
not
does it.
sure. Like, I remember the part in the game where when you and Hans are like, you don't have any of your gear, and you get out of the water and you're hiding from the enemy, and you do like this little like uphill. You probably remember what I'm talking about. There's like
Yes.
a little path area, and I kind of had to play it like 2 or 3 times because you like lose Hans for a second, and then like I couldn't figure out what the game wanted me to do because like I left the game and I fired it back up and I saved it at that point. And so there's like 2 or 3 little parts where one time you find him again, and so it saved right there, but the first time it saved where we got split up, and then it saved again where I found him again. But like it took me a couple tries to figure out like where I needed to go, and I kept dying. I kept just like I was walking in a circle, like what am I missing here? I kept running around, was like trying to find my way, and then I like accidentally found my way through it. I don't know what happened,
Yeah, I
but
just kept
but it
walking
was
one
but
direction. I know what
it
you're
was
talking
saving
about.
a
It's like a
lot.
maze going through there. Going through that rocky part. Yeah, it was a little bit of a
Yeah.
maze. Even I was like that, man, where I'm like, am I going the right way? I have no idea. I'm just going to continue forward. But I think eventually, like, it does kick in that little cutscene, right? When you do that, like, you find him, like, boom, there he is. It's weird, right? It's a weird
Yeah.
thing where yeah, like he finds you. He's like, yeah, like, oh, okay. I guess we found each other. Like, yeah, like allegedly, right? Like he scouted ahead because I think you were injured, you fell, or anyway. So, um, yeah, and there's some flashback stuff. So that part was pretty cool. So, but anyway, man, I just walked out here. But yeah, I don't know. Still can't say like, oh, I recommend this game or like just not yet, right? It's not my normal kind of action game. So I think I'm just gonna restart. I feel like I can get through it pretty quick. So yeah. But other than that, like, yeah, the only thing other than that I played was just, on vacation was just mobile gaming. So I do not like mobile gaming, mail, but I did it anyway. I couldn't take the Steam Deck because it was just like, yeah, it wasn't suited for it. It was more of a family trip. So just some a game. I don't know if you've heard of this one, Mayo. Trench Warfare might be an older game on Google Play and iPad, iOS.
No,
So
I really don't play any mobile games either, so, most of them are foreign to me. I have that little golf game I play, and that's about it, and I haven't played that in a couple weeks.
I did play that, Mayo. It's actually a pretty solid game. You're talking about Golf Clash, right? The one from EA.
Yes, yep.
Yeah, that one's pretty solid. I gotta say, like I played it last week, so that is a solid game. I definitely recommend Golf Clash from EA on the iOS Google Play Store. But yeah, Trench Warfare, it is like a side scroller, more of a, I don't know, what would you call it? Like, I don't know, if you look at it like 16-bit, kind of soldiers.
Mhm.
And I think you have to start off as like the British Empire. The redcoats, man, you got to start off as those guys. So bloody hell. But yeah, like as you unlock, I think you have to go through like a full campaign to unlock the fur, like the Russian, yeah, and the Americans, right? But so yeah, you kind of start off where it's kind of based on a point system where you start off with like regular soldiers, and you can upgrade any of these soldiers at, once you've completed like the map. So you might click on it like 10 times. That's 10 soldiers, and then they'll kind of run up to a trench, and so then you probably want to stay in that trench because then enemies will like automatically come from the other side. and yeah, like you can basically then release them, right? So then I don't know if the second one's like it's not the machine gunner guys or whatever, but like they just got like better weapons, and then you'll have snipers, and eventually you get tanks and stuff, and so. But I do like the fact that like you can release, you can either hold them like in a trench, have them turn back around, right? If you feel like you're getting overwhelmed, and just kind of keep sending that tank forward. So I feel like that was done pretty well. But yeah, as far as microtransactions, I don't know about those, but it does say like, oh, add your funds or whatever. I think you can add. Yeah, I'm sure it's a pay to win game. It's mobile, but I enjoyed it. I actually like it, so I'll probably just keep that on the iPad Pro, and yeah. But I'm sure it's available on everything. It seems like a pretty simple game, so yeah. But other than that, Mayo, that's all I really played for the last week or so. What about you, Mayo? What'd you play?
Pretty much the same stuff that I've talked to you about the last couple of weeks. I've been still knocking my way through Astrobot, and that game is it's good. Like I said, it keeps it entertaining enough. Um, I cleared I think the fourth world now, and I have played about half of the little people, the bots you have to find. Um, that game is like again, I have to play that game in spurts. Like I play it for a while, I feel like it's a good time, and then it starts getting kind of monotonous and getting kind of old, and so then I'm like, all right, I'm gonna put this game down and fire up something different. So like, but I'll go through and I'm like, and I'll go back and play the level like two times because the second time when you beat the level, if you don't find all the bots, you can go back into the level and you can pay for this little like bird that will fly over top you, and it's only like 200 coins, and I have like a ton of coins, and you can like unlock him, and he'll fly around with you as you're going through the map again, and he has like a radar, and it'll kind of give you an idea like if there's something you're missing, like a puzzle piece or a character, you will have an idea like okay, he's over here this way. Like you have to get somewhat close to the where that he's hidden or the puzzle. You still got to kind of figure it out yet, but the little bird will kind of give you an indication of like okay, you're missing a bot over here, and you can go over and grab it. But it's just like collecting all those. Like I said, I'm a little bit past halfway on that game, and I like 100% in each world I go through. So it's like just completely going through, and if I don't find them, I go back before I advance to the next map. I go through and I find every bot I can. So I don't know if that'll make me platinum the game or not, but that's what I've been doing with that, and I still enjoy the game a lot. You know, with one Astrobot with the controller, how everything goes through the controller. It kills your battery really, really fast in your controller, but it has
Are
so
you
much
are you
stuff that
using
I
a
get.
pro controller or whatever they call it, or do you just use
Um,
the Joy Cons? How
standard
do you
the
play?
standard PS5 controller that came with it, the
Oh,
PS5.
right. Yep. Jeez, why am I thinking Switch over here? My gosh, my
Yeah.
wires are crossed, Mayo.
But yeah, so I mean, but they die pretty quick when you're playing this game. Like, so I'm always rotating them out. Like, 'cause I always have one on charge, and then I'll play through, and it's like, oh, when you start using the rumble features and the adaptive triggers and all that stuff, as much as that game does, and it has so much audio that comes through that controller, it's ridiculous. It like just nonstop there's audio, and so it just wears it out really fast. Like your battery just pummels. I think you only maybe get about an hour playing time, maybe before the controller dies,
Yeah.
and I have to switch them out. So, but and then the other thing I picked up on the PS5, they had a sale going on the other day, and I had a gift card I was looking to use. I ended up picking up NCAA football 25, and I don't know if they had it on sale because of the football season's over or whatever now, but they had it for $27, and I had a $25 gift card. So we downloaded that game, installed it, and we did the my character, like my player. We create your own character,
Yes.
and you go and get drafted and all that stuff. You get like attribute points, and you go in to get drafted, and you got to earn playing time for your coach, and you got to do all that stuff in between games, like practice, and you got to like do your studying and keep your stuff up. And created one of those characters, and then The first season we had a good season. I ended up going to, I think it was Nebraska. You had a couple options. Like you couldn't just pick your school you wanted to go to. Um, or you could, but you would maybe like a severely benched player. You wouldn't get much playing time or something like that. So I went to a school. I had more playing time, and then like you get some stat points. You get a little better with the second season. And I was like, I'm gonna transfer out of here. I'm leaving these bums. And I went and ended up going to another
Damn
school.
Cornhuskers.
Then the last year, I ended up going to Ohio State, and I made like a running back. So like, um, I was setting all these records when I was in the school before I went to Ohio State. Then I get to Ohio State on the game, and they run like a mixed style offense. So they don't run it a ton. They use a lot of option reading. So like now my character doesn't get the ball as much, so like it skips around a lot more often. But it's fun to play. Like it was entertaining, and it's a good game overall.
Did
I
you
haven't played
did
a
you
football
ever
game in a
like?
while.
Yeah, I mean, I've never heard you really talking about. It's funny how Ryan Gibson. I got this from him, but a lot of people are just so confused when I say like sports ball, and I first time I've ever heard it was Ryan, so I use that reference a lot if I'm doing something like on Twitter against like my team over there at the 49ers, right? Or hey, I even follow the Raiders, right? They were Bay Area at the time, so yeah. But any kind of Madden that you ever got into, or
No, I never really got into Madden 'cause I was never a big pro football fan.
yeah,
But I did play the last like NCAAs back in the day. And so I
yeah,
always liked those because they were college related, but then you didn't have the names and the likeness on those characters now. In the new game you do, you got all your current roster and all that stuff. So like, them players all got some kickback. So it's kind of interesting to see them players on the game and you see their names on there, then they graduate, and new players come up. And it's funny, like my boy, he created a character as well, and he likes to make it like an extreme, right? Um, I can't remember what he gives like his character like a funny name or whatever into my character, and he made him like really small and like with really tiny legs and like a really big upper body. And he tries to make him like ugly as possible. And I can't remember something name was something bottom. I can't remember. It was like I don't
soggy
know what it
bottom.
was.
I don't
It
know.
was yeah, it was something goofy, but. So he always tries to make the most awkward looking character, and he puts him in a position. He always did that in the basketball games as well. He would make like a giant on basketball on 2K.
I
He would
remember
make a
that.
he'd
Not
make a
me
really
playing it,
big
but
guy
watching YouTube
and
videos.
and,
Yeah.
and make him really ugly. And then he would give him like really good like movement. And so like the guy be like dumb as a box of rocks, but he could like move really, really well. And he was like this super freak 7'7" guy, and he could move really well, but he couldn't do anything else good. And he would make little stuff like that, but on an NCAAs, he's
Sound like
kind of doing the
Shaq,
same thing.
man. Ooh.
Yeah, there you go. But I enjoyed that for a little bit. That took a couple days of my time, just kind of playing around with that game a little bit, doing the my character or my whatever it is, and you're trying to play for a championship and going through, and you can't just like overpower the game. Like it doesn't let you unless you maybe adjust some sliders or whatever. But like when the coach doesn't put you in, the game fast forwards, right? And next thing you know, you're losing, and they put you in for a couple plays, and if you don't score in those couple plays, you're probably gonna lose the game all of a sudden. Like if you're playing like a big game, like a tournament game or whatever, and you end up losing the game or something like that. So
Yeah.
I have noticed like that's happened a couple of times. Makes it a little harder to win a championship that way, but um, it's been fun. Like I said, I've been enjoying it. It's just a nice couch co-op game too. When my boy comes over, we can kind of play against each other and stuff, and
Nice.
and have fun that way. But um, and then after that, like I had this like real rotation going on for a little while where after that game I would play I'd go back to Metaphor Refantasio. And that game I'm like I was so close to the end. I'm like I was sure of it. And I was going to fight this last fight. And what happens, Gunny? You almost get defeated, right? And something happens and you have to run away with your tail between your legs. And you have to go and do this whole little thing. And I played for like another 3 hours. I thought I was at end game. And I played for another 3 hours, unlocked some more stuff. I'm like, okay, now I'm on the end game, right? And they're like, okay, you have a calendar month in the game to get ready. So it's the second time they've done this to me. It's like the first time they told me like, hey, this is like the point of no return. You got a month to get ready. Go tie up all your loose ends. I'm like, okay. And when you go and do this, you go to fight this last boss. Some things go awry, and you end up leaving, and you have to go do this other thing, and then you end up coming back to it, and now you have another month again of game time to get stronger and level some more stuff up. And that kind of made sense once that happened because like I had characters that weren't like maxed out yet. And so I'm at end game. I was thinking like characters and their bond between them that you can do would be maxed out by the time you got to end game because they have their own little sub story. I'm like, oh, I thought that was kind of weird. But now I see why like when that last fight doesn't go like planned, it gives you even more time to play. So now I have another calendar month to go back and tie up all those stories and stuff. So it's like I could probably play this game for probably another 10 hours yet, I bet, if I wanted to go
Wow.
through and just level up the characters and farm XP and stuff. I don't know if I'll do that. I know Imes had messaged me the other day. He was like kind of the same spot where I was at. And he's like, I'm just so ready to be done with this game. He's like, it's been a great game, but he goes, I'm ready to move on and be done. He thought about putting it down in storytelling mode and just make it really easy. But um just to finish it up. And I messaged him the other day. I'm like, hey, I know we both thought we were done, but you got like you got like at least 4 hours of dialogue and stuff coming up after that. Where
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
just it's like no real combat or anything. It's just a whole bunch of dialogue that happens, and you're like, oh my gosh. And so now I feel like I'm gonna probably put like 10 more hours in this game. So um,
I
I
feel
need
like
to jump back in it.
yeah, that and like whatever Persona I played on Game Pass. Was it Persona 5 that came out? Like it came out on really, but anyway, so I definitely got that
I
like
played 3
or
Reloaded. That was on Game Pass for a minute. I think it's either 3 or 5. But it was the
yeah,
reloaded one, it was like a remastered?
right, right. Yeah, I played a little bit of one that was remastered, but um and then the one that they did come out with was the one that was like that turn-based kind of combat, or not the turn-based, but it was like a little XCOM-y a little bit. A little
Okay.
XCOM like movement of like, hey, move your character here and there, you know, to get a better strategy of I don't know. That just kind of turned me off. I was like, I'm not playing this one anymore. That was like a day one thing on Game Pass. But anyway, man, I kind of get where you're coming from because after playing like one of those personas for 10 hours and then doing the um and then doing this game for like whatever the trial that they gave you, that was what, 5 hours, 4 to 5. Um and from the same makers. And so it's like I get it. Like I think it's kind of cool where yeah, it's going to be a little bit of story, combat, a lot of combat, a little bit of story, a lot of combat, right? Like I feel like
Mhm.
okay, I love how they're just kind of like spreading this thing out. Like I don't know, like I get it. Like I get where they're going at with this.
Yeah, the one thing I probably didn't like the most about it, it became kind of so, like, routine, is it gets in this little pattern where you do, like, you have, like, bonds with all these characters in the game that you meet, and you need to upgrade all that stuff for, like, unlocking more of your archetypes, and when that bond time is gonna come, so usually it's when you're traveling. So the game will, like, have you, like,
Is that
travel
when
from
you're at
one
the
place.
campfire? Is that where
Yeah, you can either
that
do it at the
comes in?
campfire or, like, I don't know if you've seen the, Gauntlet Runner yet. It's like a ship that you get.
I haven't seen
Um,
that part yet.
okay, yeah. So it starts off with a walking ship that you can drive. You ride it. You don't control it, but you have, like, a captain that becomes part of your team. And, every time you travel from place to place, when you're traveling, it's weird, like, so at the end of the day, you have your day-night cycle, you can't travel at night. They won't let you. They're like, "Oh, it's too dangerous to travel at night, you gotta wait till the next day." And so there's absolutely, like, nothing you can do sometimes except for, just rest or do a thing that will make the time pass. So, like, you can just go, like, study a book or something like that, and it'll give you some, like, mind points or, like, there's a thing like your courage and your your awareness and all this kind of stuff. Like you can build those up, or you can go and talk to a person and they'll give you like part of their story. So you'll talk to the person, and when certain requirements are met, you can increase your bond with them and it'll unlock more stuff for your archetypes. And so like certain ones will pop up and you go talk to that person. Well, each one has its own little like story behind it. And it's in like 10 parts. And you can't just go unlock them all right away. So as the game progresses, you got to go back to that guy and you get a little bit of this story, then the other person you get a little bit of their story. And so like you got to work your way through all that too. And there's like so many characters you have to do that with. Sometimes I would just kind of skip through some of that dialogue. I'm just like, I don't care. I just want to get out of this and advance to the next day,
Yeah.
so I can get to where I want to go. But so I do have a lot of that coming up. Like I said, when I have this next calendar month in that game, but it's been fun. I mean, I've enjoyed the game quite a bit, and it's worth the money. Um, I don't know if it was in the running for Game of the Year or not in my book, but it was. But I don't know if I would give it that. But I did like the art style and just like the way it plays. But
I want to say that was like
I'm
a
kind of done.
runner up, right? Correct me if
Yeah,
I'm wrong. Well, they don't call it. Well, I'm just thinking of Jeff Keighley's VGO, right? But or Video Game Awards. But yeah, he used to do that, right? I remember I said that on the show. He used to have these runners up, right? And then it was like, and the winner is right. Like, yeah, that was always cool. I like that format how he did it. So, yeah.
but yeah, I've been playing that a little bit, and also like during the show last week, Gunny. I know you and I were kind of looking at before the show. Um, I picked up Game Pass again and did like a month. I'm basically doing like 1 month of Game Pass to
I
try
convinced
Indiana
you, right? That
Jones.
was me,
Yeah.
right? Okay. Like, can I just kind of stop you right there? Because that was like one thing where you were talking about picking up Indiana Jones. I think that's what you said. And I go, no, Mayo, don't buy this game, right? Go
Mhm.
rent it. Go rent it on Xbox, right? I think that's the words I
Yeah.
actually said.
That's kind of what I decided. I ended up buying Kingdom Come at the same time and then just getting Game Pass for a month. So I got $10 off of Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 through CD keys. And so I just used that $10 I saved that I were to spend on Kingdom Come on Steam anyways,
Yeah,
and just bought a month of Game Pass. And so that gave me access to
perfect.
um
That's what it's designed for, I think. Just
yeah.
try this first. Yeah.
And it gave me access to Indiana Jones because I kind of wanted to play it. And I've heard everybody talking about it and how good it was and how fun it was. I'm like, I want to check this game out. And I'm like, this game's gonna look amazing on this OLED with the lighting and the dark and the light and the tombs and all that kind of stuff. And so I put it on my OLED and I was running it in 4K. I'm like, I got it to where it was running good. I'm like, okay, everything's running really good. And all of a sudden, like, I got into this one scene, and the game just starts bogging down. It gets down to like 5 frames. I'm like, what is going on here? And so I go into the settings. I turn everything down one. Right, I go from like ultra to like high on everything. I'm like, okay, and it kind of fixes itself. It picks up the frames again. I'm like, I'm good. I start playing, all of a sudden the game starts bogging down again. I'm like, what the heck? And so I do it again, the same thing. So I go back in. I'm like, okay, I'm going to turn ray tracing off because I was running ray tracing. Turn off ray tracing. I jump up to 150 frames. I'm like, okay, I'll play the game now just without ray tracing. Next thing I know, the game's like dropping down and it's dropping down really low frames again. And I'm like, this is weird. I'm like playing the game on medium settings now, but I'm playing in 4K, right? True 4K. And so I'm like, okay, maybe I'll back it down to 1440. So of course the game tells you, hey, you got to restart the game. And I'm like, okay, I'm gonna restart the game and for it to take effect. I restart the game, it fires back up in 1440, and it's running worse than it was running in 4K. I'm like, what the heck? Like, what is going on here? And so then I go back in, look at the settings, and it's like your VRAM might be overloaded on your video card. Adjust your settings, and I'm like, that's weird because everything was on medium now, and I was playing on ultra. And so then if I would play around with it and I would bump it up to high sometimes and the game would work fine. And then all of a sudden it would start like chugging along. So then I'd bump the game back to medium and sometimes it would fix it, sometimes it wouldn't. And sometimes I just have to restart the game. So I don't know what's going on there and it is not liking my PC or if it's just because I'm using this Windows version or what. But the game has kind of been up and down for me. Like sometimes I've tried different monitors. I've tried doing my 1080p monitor. I've tried using my 1440 monitor. I've done my 4K monitor. I tried putting the game on medium. I put it on, high, ultra, turned DLSS on, path tracing on. I've done frame gen. I played with all that stuff, and the game has still done this. So I haven't quite figured out what the thing is. I think the only thing I haven't tried to do yet is uninstall the game and reinstall it and see if that fixes it.
And I think I asked you too, because we were messing around with it today, and you did the verify and repair
Yeah,
on
yeah, I've tried
the
that as
Game
well.
Pass. Yeah, I think that's kind of new to Game Pass, by the way. That actually, like, that's something that's been on Steam for a long time. I don't
But
think it says verify and repair. It says verify and check files or something.
yeah,
So I
but
had
I've
this same
tried.
problem. I had the same problem, Mail. So without changing it, okay, so I want to say whatever first big patch they did after the launch of this game, because when this game first launched, right, I'm playing on my 4070 Ti Super. Okay, I got that right. I always forget what graphics card I had, but and I just so the first thing I always do just make sure okay resolution is correct or whatever. Everything was just on whatever ultra or super ultra, and I don't think I might have checked my frames because this is on. You'll have to show me, Mayo, how to kind of put that. I saw it on your screen. I didn't know how to do it, but I know how to
Oh
do it through
yeah.
the Windows 11 app. But yours looked a little different. So how did you get the frames
So
to show up?
the one I was using on Indiana Jones, it's actually in the option menu. It's
Okay,
under
yeah,
like
it's in the game
there's a
menu.
performance metrics under the video tab, and you put it on low, and it will show you just the frames. If you put it on the next one, it'll show you some other stuff. It shows you like CPU usage and all that kind of stuff. Like you can
Okay, yeah,
up
because
what
it's
it's
Windows
showing.
Game Pass, right? We can't get our
Yeah.
normal stuff as if we were on Steam where it actually
And you
shows frames.
can,
So
yeah, you can use
yeah,
Game Bar as well. Like you can pin it. That's what I first started doing, and then I
I
found it
tried that.
in
It
the
didn't work.
options.
Nope,
Yeah,
didn't work for me.
I would just
No,
hit
would not
the
show
the
up.
Windows G key, and the Game Bar pops up, and then there's a little
Yeah,
thing for performance, and you can tab, and then you can pin it on your
correct. Yeah, it shows
desktop, and
zero
then
the
when
whole
you,
time.
oh yeah, that's yeah,
Yeah,
I've had
nope,
to do that like
didn't
one
work for
time.
me.
I had it working one time, and then I went to a cutscene, and then like toward the beginning of the game when it was first teaching you how to fight and stuff. And then when it went to another scene, it kept showing 0. Then when I closed the game and
Yeah.
relaunched it the next time, it was fine. But
Okay,
then
I'll
I
keep
went. But
trying it
then
that way.
once I
Or
figured out it had a built-in frame counter, I just started using theirs. I don't really use
okay,
the
I'm
Windows
gonna
game bar.
yeah, but whatever. Remember, man, when the game first came out, and I was talking about on the show, like, hey, it's running good, and and it feels like smooth and as butter, and whatever frames I was getting, like, I didn't even know, but it ran great. And then whatever update they did, I was getting the same. I still get the same thing as just what happens to you, right? Where I'll be playing, and then it just kind of like slows down to like whatever 5, 10 frames. Like I feel like the game's gonna crash, but then it doesn't. It doesn't crash. Like it'll boom, like it pops back up to like fucking 80 frames again. I'm like, huh, okay. And
Yeah, I
I
just
just
figured
let it run. I
something.
was hoping it would smooth out, right? That it would smooth itself out, and it just never did. It just kept running that same way. Good for 3 minutes, runs like shit for another minute, Like,
Hmm.
yeah, and I didn't change anything. I feel like it just whatever update it did just kind of broke some shit. But the other thing I did do, Mail, and I didn't get a chance to test this out before we started recording was uh ray tracing. You said, do you have it on? I'm like, oh shit, it's not even on my machine. I didn't even know that was there. Like if I kept scrolling down. So, and again, I don't think it's going to matter. It's still going to probably do the same thing. But so yeah, City Slicker reached out to me, and this is something we talked about over on the Video Game Happy Hour podcast. Was it might have been offline, so we were talking about doing a spoiler cast on this game. I'm not quite completed it yet, so I do have the next couple days off. I'm probably got to lay my sword down on Kingdom Come to, you know, see this game through, and then we'll all kind of do a spoiler cast over there on their podcast. But yeah, and I think I'll probably get a different perspective because I'm pretty sure City Slicker. I don't know what graphics card he has, but he's he's definitely playing on PC. James, he has a 2070 Ti, I believe. So I'll get a different perspective, or they,
Hmm.
as to what where they actually purchased this, or if they're actually playing on Game Pass. So yeah, to see their performance as well. So look for that. I'll definitely be linking that over here in
Yeah, and
HGP Discord.
it's been a fun game. Like the game has gone well for me. It's just the technical experience that I've had through it has not been the greatest, like on the PC side of things. And even things like you and I kind of commented about at the beginning before the podcast here is like I fired it up. I also don't like how like if you're in like like uh full frame but like windowless, if you hit like the Windows key, you can't even pull your mouse up. Like you gotta like
No, it doesn't work for me
you got
either.
yeah, you gotta do something else to get your mouse to pull up. In most games, like you put in
Control Alt
full
Delete is what I normally go with. Right?
yeah, like to
That's how
pull
I
up like your
get to
task
actually
manager and all stuff. But yeah,
the
like
task manager. Yeah.
you can't be running like a full frame, like full screen, but with a window or full screen window or whatever, and it won't like still won't pull up a mouse bar. If you want to like get out of the screen, you can't sometimes. I'm like, what the heck? Like I've had so many games in the past that have done that way back in the day, but it hasn't been a problem on a lot of the newer games. And of course, I have that on this. And again, I don't know if it's because I'm playing the Xbox version of it on Game Pass or what, but yeah, as soon as I do that,
Right. I think that's the
basically,
key right there. I think, I'm gonna blame Xbox for that one because right, because that's what we're playing, right? So I think Steam is gonna be a different version. It's gonna be and I'm gonna find out too. Like I think machine games, I think they're probably still using like a separate, how do I put this? Like a different for example, what is it like Windows uses like their x86 or whatever?
hmm
I forgot the actual name of it, of how they make games, where I feel like machine games is still under that old Bethesda umbrella, where they made a different version obviously for Steam. So they're probably still doing that. I'm gonna say, right, because this is something that's been in the works for quite a while. So the better versions on Steam, man. I forgot how Steam runs games or how they're made. So just different from Microsoft. So, but hey, like it's maybe yeah. If it runs better over there and you love the game, you can just go purchase it over there. Or you know what? Just play the console version, man. That's what we should be doing.
and that's what I probably could
It'll
have
be a
done. But
lot
this is
smoother.
just as easy. But I didn't get the console version of Game Pass. I just bought the PC Game Pass,
Me too. Yeah.
and so I don't have it on there right now.
I know. I don't pay
But
for premium, so I can't tell you like the difference in performance. So
and I
kind of
don't know if the Steam, maybe I'll just buy the Steam version and then try it, and I could always return it if it doesn't play any better.
Oh, good point, right? Kind of run a benchmark, see how it runs. Because just to kind of add to that, and you know more about this, man, was through the I want to call it the NVIDIA app. No, yeah, correct, right? Where your drivers are and everything.
Uh huh.
How that game does pop. It's one of the only Xbox games that actually pops up in there, in your actual NVIDIA app. So, but you can't change anything because it's an Xbox game, right? You can't change
Right.
it. So it doesn't let you change it like in a regular Steam game. So yeah, you can't change any options. But I'm sure there's mods that can, make it happen. But yeah.
I did pull up real quick while we were just talking about this. I did just see look up a comparison between the Xbox version and the Steam version. And just on Reddit, there's an article saying that the Game Pass version of this game is the diminished quality and expect what you can expect from Microsoft. And it says that frame generation in many cases is entirely broken and non-functional, and the performance is way worse all around on the
Yeah.
Game Pass version.
Ghost Nico would agree, right? Because he's had Game Pass on and off. And yeah. And so we've played games on there. Let me see. SnowRunner, we played together. He's like, dude, this Game Pass version sucks. We need to get the Steam version of it. So, for more better options. So
Right.
yeah. So there's that. But
So it sounds like it might have
hey,
played a little better on
I'm still
Steam.
gonna I'm always gonna look at it like this is a great thing that I'm paying for a demo, So like it's great to see if I actually do want to make that purchase.
Yeah. I mean, there's a couple other games in Game Pass I kind of wanted to play and jump into. So it's like, oh, I can play all these while I have Indiana Jones. Like I said, I don't know if I'll renew my Game Pass or not, but I'm like, I'll fire up a couple of these games for a while and play them.
Did you see
And
that game in there, Mail, offhand? Citizen Sleeper 2? I don't know. Did you ever play the first one? I want
I
to
have
play
not.
this.
I seen it on there,
See how this is.
but
I
I
don't
have
even know what it
not
is.
played it before. I looked at it.
Every time I say like I've got it installed, I'm like I'm going to check out whatever this is, right? Like, yeah, but I just keep forgetting. But eventually, guys, I'll get there. I'll play it. So I just heard one podcast, Mayo, talking about how, oh, this game's so great. I love the first one, and I'm like, shit. I vaguely remember even hearing about the first one. So,
Yeah, I don't
or
know
what
much
this
about it either.
genre even is. So, but
But after all that, that's pretty much I think all I've been playing. I did try out on the PlayStation. I did try I'm trying to remember the name of it now. Dynasty Warriors, the new Dynasty
oh
Warriors
yeah,
game.
there's a demo on everything, I believe. I
Yeah,
played a
there's a
little bit on
demo,
Steam,
and
a
I
little bit
didn't
of it.
like I didn't like it right away. Like I just it looked cool. The graphics are cool, and like the fight scenes, there's like tons of people everywhere. But it just I don't know. It just didn't really like hook me. It's something that I would like. So I think I have a friend at work that loved this game. He's played all the other ones and loved it. And he was excited for it, and he says it's really great, but I tried it, and I was just kind of like, meh. So it's just not my kind of game.
I definitely feel like when I went in and just randomly played this, where I'm like, oh, okay, I need to go watch a video first, to even play the demo, right? Because it didn't take long before I even died or who I'm supposed to be
Yeah.
fighting. And it was a little like, I'll just say for anybody that just jumped down this demo, like, wait, am I supposed to be fighting this guy? Like, is he one of mine? Like, I have no idea. Like,
One
wait,
of the
why is the red coat versus the blue coats? Yeah, who are we fighting here? What's
yeah.
going on? Yeah,
One of the things
they
I
all
really
look
don't
different.
like playing in a game is it's like the one thing I just like, oh my gosh. I hate escort missions on games where you have to like protect somebody and the computer's just all like dumb walking into trouble,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
you're trying to I hate those missions. And that kind of has that in this game where you have these generals. There's like these other generals on the map. And there's like all these different factions that basically that are fighting with you. There's a big war going on, and these other generals have teamed up with you, and
yeah.
you can't let any of them die, or it's game over. And so you have to like bounce around, and you got to help protect them. And it was just like, oh, I hate these kind of missions where you got to sit there and make sure somebody doesn't die on you. And when it's a computer controlled character, I'm just like, all right, yeah, this game isn't for me.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember what it was too. With like, I couldn't remember if it was like where you called your horse over or something, where you can get to point A to point B faster.
Yeah, you can run and then you can call your horse over, but you can also
That's what
fight
it was. I
on
think
your
it was like
horse.
whistle for the horse or something. Yeah,
Yeah, and then you jump on it, and you can also fight while you're on it, but people can pull you off. But there's like people everywhere, right? You like it's like a big fight going on,
yeah. It's
and
chaotic.
but
I'm gonna
what's
go watch.
weird too
I want to.
is like the
I'm still
combat.
interested in this game though. I am. I'm still interested.
I thought it was kind of weird, like how you're like swinging your sword and you're hitting like 10 people at once, and like all 10 go flying in the air.
I
It's
like
like
that. Right? They've all been like that, by the way.
yeah,
All these games have been like that. So
but so yeah, definitely not for me. But like I said, the game looked really impressive. It just wasn't my type. And I tried it on the PS5, but like I said, it was just a demo. I'm like downloading it real quick. I'm like, I'll check it out. But yeah, it
yeah.
definitely wasn't for me.
And I played it over on PC. So I think even Xbox. I'm sure there's a demo for it. So yeah, I've still got it installed. I'm still checking it out. So I don't know. Is it out yet already? Should have came out, right?
Maybe
Let me see
if
here. Let me
not,
go to the
maybe pretty
store
soon.
page. Uh, let's see. The hell? Oh, November 21st. The hell? No, is this the one here? It's Dynasty Warriors Origins, right? So I guess this game's
Uh,
already out.
I didn't think it was.
Yeah, I thought it was already out. So, but I'm looking for another game here, Mayo. I just wanted before we get to the news. I just downloaded a demo for it, so I didn't know. Oh, so here's a game, Mayo. I think it might be also in a story element from or a story piece that we got, but like a Dragon, Pirate Yakuza in Hawaii. I thought this game was already out. Like I kept seeing videos and videos, and I'm thinking like, oh, this game's been out. Like, because I saw something about how it's coming to Xbox on this date or whatever. I'm like, huh, maybe it was a timed exclusive or something. But no, this game actually comes out. Let's see here. Just get through. Yes, I'm over 18. I can view this game. Steam, thank you. February 13th. So let's see here. Let's see. 13th. Wait, so the game's already out, right?
Yeah, that's been 4 days ago.
Oh, okay. So yeah, it's out. There's reviews out there. So, and there is a demo. So, and I'm sure there's a demo on every system. I would imagine. So, check that out before you buy it. But other than that, let's see. We get to some news, Mayo.
Yeah, just the last thing too. Going out or something you would like. Did you ever like Castle Crashers?
Yeah, my kid loved that game. Like he probably put probably 200 hours into it, and I would co-op with him playing that game over on Xbox 360 together.
The reason I bring it up, there's a game similar. The art style kind of gives me a feel for it. It's on Steam as a demo. It's called Big Helmet Heroes. I downloaded the demo. I haven't played it yet, but it looks kind of fun. It looks like a little hack and slash game. Get good reviews. It came out February 6th.
Oh, okay. Yeah, let me download that.
Yeah, it's Big Helmet Heroes.
All right. I love demos. Free demos, man. I'm all about it. So, yeah, I'll send that to my son as well.
Yeah, check that game out. And then that's pretty much it. Like, I know my son, some of the people like this game, Sworn came out this last week. And he's played the heck out of that. It's kind of like kind of like Windblown, kind of like Hades kind of game. But I have not played it myself yet. But
so
I would like them.
I thought that you and Ghost Nico and somebody else were playing it like on a Friday when because that's like my longest day at work. And I'm like, oh, that playtest is out. That's cool. And I kind of missed out on it. I swear that was with you and Ghost Nico, but
yeah, it could have been.
Played
like him and I played it when they first started doing the playtest, and they had a couple more after that. And the game went full release this last week, and so my boy picked it up. Well, it's like early access, but it's like a full game. It's kind of like Dead Cells was. They're always improving it, but like there's a lot you can do.
So this is like Hades. I did talk about this. Might have been the last show that I was on, or the one before that, but I didn't like it, Mayo. I don't know. There's something about like, these Hades isometrical games. Maybe I won't even like Windblown, where I just feel frustrated. I'm not, my reflexes are not fast enough, Mayo. I'm too old or something. But no, but with this game, I think I have to have a little more patience with it because I feel like I'm moving around like I'm fighting Muhammad Ali or something. Does that make sense? Right? I'm just like juking everywhere.
What I think could make a difference is it's has multiplayer, and so that can kind of change things up a little bit. And that's the way Windblown is as well. Like Nico finally got Windblown, and I was hoping to try to get to play with him a little bit and see how that works. Because like I'm probably further along in the game than he is. So like, how does that work when he jumps into my world? Or I jump into his world. Like. Do I carry my stuff over with me, or do I lose all my stuff when I jump into his world so he needs to come to mine? I don't know how that works. I'm kind of curious.
Yeah, interesting. But yeah, like since I'm moving so much, man, and as you know, since you played the first one or whatever, I mean, these maps are really small, like probably the same map sizes as like Hades, right? But the difference is like, oh, I'll move left, right, up, down, and go over. But then you'll get like the spikes that come out of the ground. Like I know where they're at. Like I know where they're there. But I feel like you just can't. This game just does not let you do it, right? Because there is, there you get punished, right? Right?
Yeah.
And again, not every map has the spikes, but those ones that do, like I feel like it's plentiful, where I'm like, fuck, like I'm not taking damage from the enemy, but just from these stupid spikes that I keep activating, by accident, of course. So yeah, there's not a lot of movement, and I feel like that's what I don't like about this game. Like, no, let me move around like Hades, right? Don't throw in these other things that restrict me from moving,
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I think I uninstalled the game today. Finally, I'm like, I'm not gonna play that no more. So pissed me off. Yeah, I would probably be more up to playing something like Windblown, where I feel like, yeah, like I'm not going to go into a hot pool of fucking lava or something, you know, or a
Right.
set of spikes, and yeah, don't punish me for no movement, damn it. So, but anyway, Mayo, it's news time. We got some news. Beep, 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 beep. News time. Rainbow Six Siege. I don't know if did you see this, Mayo? Rainbow Six
Yeah, I'm just now
Siege
looking at it.
X has been announced with graphical, audio, and gameplay improvements. That is set for March 13th. Now, before I read this article, I would probably say, and help me on this, Mail, but they probably can't change the graphics like too much, right? Because this has to play on the Xbox One and the PS4, right? I mean, you can't. Would I be right on that? Right? You can't say really boost it for like too much or change it too much,
Right.
right?
Yeah, I would
To get it to kind of
say.
run, since this is like a games for service, right? Like you can't, yeah, change too much of it. I think the game looks fine anyway. Like, you know, going from one to the X to the PC. I think I played it
Yeah.
on PC, not recently, but you know, either the game is free sometimes or it's $20. So
Kind of the thing though, like Counter-Strike did the same thing, right? So Counter-Strike is now Counter-Strike 2,
how did that
but
work?
like they just kind of like gradually migrated, right? So like Counter-Strike 2 had like a trial, like a beta, and then eventually it just went full release and Counter-Strike just kind of went away. So now that's the one you have to play is the new Counter-Strike. So that's what everybody's in. And they updated the graphics and they upgraded like the smoke and stuff. So they still kept it really simple, but they like the smoke has better effects and the fire has better effects and stuff like that. So
But I
I
feel
guess
like
they could
probably
do
they
like
probably didn't.
minor improvements.
Yeah, it's probably something like where like, okay, we don't, it doesn't require ray tracing, right? So then somebody with a, you know, with a
Yeah.
980 or whatever, you know, 1060 didn't have to go buy a new graphics card
Well,
or
I
anything.
think a lot of these people too that like play these games in for competitiveness is they turn the graphics down anyways. They
Yeah,
want to turn it down as much as possible and many frames as possible and less chance of like not seeing something correctly.
right, right. So, but anyway, so let's see what we got over here with them. So this was rumored earlier this month. Ubisoft did confirm the sixth invitational esports tournament that Rainbow Six Siege X is a real thing. It's a full-fledged showcase, which will take place on March 13th. Though folks will be able to attend this event in person in Atlanta, Georgia. For now, developers said Rainbow Six X will include graphics and sound upgrades, deeper tactical gameplay, and new ways to play the game. You can check out a brief video teaser, which I haven't really watched. But, and of course, the live service of the regular Rainbow Six Siege goes on in the meantime. This will be year 10. Wow. Year 10 kicks off shortly with a first season called Operation Prep Phase Again. Just like in the leak, the season will introduce a new operator called Rora. That's Raura. Hailing from New Zealand. G'day. Did they say good day in New Zealand? I'm not even sure. But she joins the attackers team and will be available at the start of the season with the new battle pass. 2 weeks later, she'll become unlockable with Renown or R6 credits. So yeah, they're probably still like $10 a character. But yeah, or if you play the hell out of this game, you're gonna unlock her easily. So, but Rora brings in her powerful pair of primary weapons: the 417 designated sniper rifle, or the M249 light machine gun. Oh, I'm gonna like her. I can sit way back, Mayo. If I see somebody coming through the window, just pop them in the head. Her secondary weapon includes the GSH 18 9mm pistol or the new Reaper MK2 submachine gun. The Reaper is equipped with a red dot sight and an extended magazine, making her very dangerous in close combat. Smoke grenades or breach charges round off her kit. Sweet. Arguably, what distinguishes her the most is the gadget called Deployable OmniLink Mesh. So, DOM Launcher. This is a bulletproof smart cover system that only works in doorways. I thought you could put the other like covers in doorways as well, but yeah. But let's see. So, maybe this kind of covers the whole door, but you can still see through. That's what I'm imagining. When Aurora aims at a doorway, at an on-screen icon indicates when she has a valid target and can fire the gadget. Okay. Once the projectile reaches the door, it attaches and deploys a bulletproof panel that extends all the way to the floor. Oh, that's cool. So this is usual or unusual for a Rainbow Six Siege, as there are normally room for drones to pass under barricades, but the smart cover panel can sense when a drone is nearby. It will then lift the panel slightly, allowing the drone to pass through before fully closing again. Oh, okay. So I guess you know when they're coming in, right? When they're watching, you can just go up and yeah, that's cool. So yeah, Aurora's able to block enemies' lines of sight and impede their movement. She can also use them relatively safety from a distance. But what if she and her allies want to get through? Well, there's a rectangular trigger at the top of the panel that appears on each side of the door. The trigger will remain locked unless an operator approaches it, at which point it will unlock and open. If someone shoots the trigger, the panel door will open. If the door is open and you pull the trigger, it will close. I can already see some griefing with that, Mayo, where, I can imagine not playing a ton of this game, but it's like, yeah, stop fucking with my shit, keep it locked. Don't leave. Yeah. So you can't come back in if you leave once. So yeah, that's cool. So looking forward to that. I'll probably jump in and play some. It's probably on Game Pass, or I own it on Steam. So not much into the competitive way of things. I know Nipron plays this game once in a while, so he's pretty good at it. And yeah, go follow his YouTube channel. He's got some pretty good highlights on there of him playing this game. So, but anyway, on to the next one. What do we got here? Oh, fans have the chance to design their own Elder Scrolls 6 NPC that will actually appear in the game. So this kind of reminds me of remember Skyrim Grandma, Mayo?
I was getting ready to say that. I remember they were going to put her in the game.
Yeah, I think she came after, right? Because she streamed the game so much.
Yeah.
Can I be Skyrim Grandpa?
There you go.
Maybe I can be, right, for Elder Scrolls 6.
Yeah. She was from Ohio, actually.
Oh, I remember when she retired not that long ago. I think it was last year. I remember us reading that article. So maybe you should stop in the nurse home and see her, Mayo. Pay your respects. Bring her back for Elder Scrolls 6. But anyway, Bethesda has recently announced that gamers can participate in a silent auction to create one NPC for their eagerly awaited Elder Scrolls 6. Not much is known about the game, but the open world RPG is currently in development. I would hope so. And this is a unique chance for one hardcore fan to participate in the game's creation and leave their mark on the franchise. So Elder Scrolls 6 was announced in 2018 at E3, despite how eagerly anticipated this open world RPG. There's still no release date, obviously, and even basic information such as where the game's story will be set is unconfirmed. Now that Bethesda has revealed on social media that one fan will be able to create this NPC, let's see here. Oh, this is a partnership with Make-A-Wish Mid-Atlantic. To earn a chance to win the big prize, gamers need to win a silent auction, with the proceeds going to Make-A-Wish Mid-Atlantic nonprofit organization. The silent auction started with a base bid of $1,000 and is currently at $3,800 at the time of this writing. Considering that creating a character for such an eagerly awaited game like this is a fairly rare opportunity, gamers can expect the final bid price to be quite a bit higher. Unfortunately, Bethesda did not unveil major details about the scope of the character's story or how important it is. It'll be the narrative, but it will likely be a minor NPC. What the hell, Mayo? So if I go in there and take like my rent money and I don't know, give them $5,000, right? And I end up just being like the bartender selling mead. I don't know. Would that be worth it?
Oh, I don't know.
I don't know if I want to do that or not, but yeah. But that's cool. So yeah, we'll sign up, Mayo. We'll sign up. We'll chip in. We'll get a GoFundMe going.
There you go.
Old man Grandpa, Gunny, going into Skyrim. All right, what do we got here? Next article. Just 2 weeks after launch, extraction survival horror game called Level Zero ends development. It's no longer feasible for our relatively small team to sustain the game. So I did play this, Mayo. I played this with a gentleman. I believe we were playing GTFO. I think there was a free weekend for GTFO.
Mm-hmm.
And I jumped. I swear I thought I owned this game. But I checked again. I'm like, shit, I still got the beta. So they had like, you know how they do free weekends on shit? Like anything else, right? Friday, Saturday, Sunday, you're good to go. And I did not like that game. It wasn't, yeah. But it was like me, him, and like randomly one other person that would jump in and like, you know, you kind of get the horde mode going and, you know, you're still not sure exactly where you even need to freaking go if you're not, you know, in the know of this game. But yeah, to me it was just like horde mode. So, and hardcore at that. So was not a fan. I don't like the guns in the yeah, like the combat and shit was cool, but it just felt super repetitive just trying to get this thing done over with, you know, each time. But yeah, so then I started to follow him because I think he said, oh yeah, I'm streaming the game over on Twitch. And I was, oh cool, let me follow your channel. So yeah, I forgot what his name was, Barry, something Barry. So I still follow him and he plays a lot of small indie games that, I was watching him play this game, and I think this one even was like a free to play, Mayo, while it was in like its early access stage. But yeah, so basically this is like, I don't know if it's like a 3 or 4v1 where you can kind of play as like the zombie creature, you know, in this lab. And so yeah, like he was actually pretty good when he would play as like the zombie. But yeah, you could probably just go watch gameplay and better understand it. But you know, you have different tasks that you're supposed to be doing, and I think that when you're going in, you're kind of going after like, you know, whatever shit you can kind of collect and pick up, and you know, I'm trying to think of like, you know, any kind of other extraction shooter. Maybe not. What's the one that's from Russia? Mayo, that extraction shooter. That
Tarkov?
Yeah, Escape from Tarkov, but I wouldn't say it's like that. This is very indie, right? Like, yeah, you know, you're not getting this like massive amount of shit or whatever, but you can kind of go in if you got good armor and guns and all that stuff and probably get a leg up. But just note, if you lose, like you lose that shit, right? So you don't get it back. You got to earn it back. But yeah, I just kind of followed along with him, and yeah, we just, you know, like I just kind of stay behind him, you know. So he's like, yeah, like the fucking monster, like, you know, it's going to be coming out, or he knew exactly where they'd be hiding and shit. So, but anyway, on to the article here. Said just 2 weeks after launch on Steam, multiplayer extraction shooter has reached the end. In a message posted to Steam, community manager and Fisher said that the game has underperformed compared to our expectations, and thus it's no longer feasible for our relatively small team to sustain the game from a financial standpoint. So as the project managers on behalf, Dog Howl, and publisher Tiny Build, I'm informing you that Level Zero Extraction has reached the state it will most probably be in its final form for the time being. They wrote, the final patch for the game was released on January 30th, 2025. Level Zero Extraction is an ambitious debut title from Dog Howl. Our desire was to create a game unlike any other by combining the extraction shooter and isometrical horror genre. Although we ended up seeing that they are not easy to blend. We're grateful we had the chance to try and gain so much invaluable experience. Let's see here. I'm trying to see if they're going to like what they're going to do, give people's money back or what. So just kind of reading down here. Said Extraction actually begun in life in 2022 as Level Zero, as an isometric game in which a team of scientists struggle to repair their facility and get the hell out while trying not to be brutally butchered by a xenomorphish alien monster. I was calling them zombies, but yeah, alien monsters, more like what they look like. But after a couple of years of silence, it was reannounced as Level Zero Extraction, a more convenient conventional looking extraction shooter that casts players as gun-toting mercs rather than pencil neck geeks. So let's see here. Sadly, it did not work out. Had a peak concurrent player count of just over 2,600 following its early access debut in August of 2024. But that quickly fell off to a sub-member of 100 people by mid-October. The 1.0 release in January didn't turn things around, achieving a peak concurrent player of just 98 immediately after launch. So at this moment, there's only 20 people playing. So I think Barry's like one of them. Like he likes to play like these games. You know, over on Twitch, I'll just randomly see it, like especially like on like a Monday where I'm my day off, and I'll pop it on, and yeah, it's like him and 19 other people. So, anyway, it says here, extraction servers will remain online, so the game will continue to be playable, and wipes will continue to happen on the first Thursday of every month. But there will be no further weekend events. And of course, no new maps, weapons, cosmetics, game modes, or any other features. As for Doghowl, it's now working on a new multiplayer game. This is a co-op experience. We really hope that the invaluable experience gained with Level 0 Extraction will help with emerging studio in the future efforts, the studio said. What do you think, Mayo? Like, even if they say like, oh, you know, we leave the servers on, so maybe in another 3 months, they'll probably just be announcing servers are closing, right? Because they have to pay for them.
Yeah, and it's bad too. Like I pulled it up on Steam charts, and right now, Gunny, there's 7 people playing.
Yeah, and I think I did see the mostly negative.
And the last 30 days, the peak players, like you said, was 98.
So I wonder. Okay, I'm sure these studios, they have budgets, and in a timeline of when they need to release, right? And I'm going to assume also they probably have private investors who they have to answer to, right? So then I don't know. Like I wonder if it would have made the difference of like telling your investors, right, or your bank, or I don't know, maybe not your bank. That probably wouldn't work, right? They'd be like, pay up or take you to court. But still, like I would say, like, hey, this game is just still not ready. We're still trying to, get more, testing and pre-orders, right? And and I'm sure they saw too, man. I think my main point is like, didn't they probably know from like how many people wish list this game, and through the community and Q&A to know, right? Or do you think they probably just got to the point where they're like, well, fuck it. Like, we just know, like, this is kind of the end. It's just, there's no saving this game,
Right.
Like,
yeah.
nothing we can do, right? I mean, even if we just don't have the money, right, to kind of pour into this, right? It's like you can't polish a turd, right? Or it's not going to happen. So kind of sad, but yeah. See a small studio like that, but they're like moving on to the next game. This one didn't do so well, so. But anyway, let's see what's next here for Xbox. There's probably several articles on this, Mayo, but I just chose this one, and this is something where Phil Spencer was on the Xbox Era podcast. I don't listen to it. I listen to a couple Xbox podcasts, but yeah, I don't listen to Xbox Era for some reason. I don't know, just don't. But and this is coming from Mike Ibarra, formerly from Microsoft, and then he moved on to Activision, I believe. I don't know if I think he was an executive, correct? That was kind of the thing where
I think so. Wasn't he running it for a while? Like, wasn't he running?
No, I think the way the timeline goes was during COVID, he got what? Like he went to work for Activision doing something, and then he got promoted. Bobby Kotick, I remember him even talking about this. This was well prior to the Xbox acquisition, where he was going to run, I don't know, a studio, or like, I don't know, what am I thinking of here? BioWare, right? Or something. And then there was another female, I don't remember her name, and then she was going to run another part of the company. like, just as managers or whatever their titles were, right? So, yeah, that was like a big controversy, I think, at the time. But Mike's a good guy. I think, I've not heard anything terrible about him. I think he did kind of put his, foot in it when he talked about them making equal, pay or something, male, female. Anyway, so
Yeah, I was thinking there was like
yeah,
there's a time when they had that whole the way females were being treated and stuff there, and then like the CEO, I thought he like stepped down. And I thought like they appointed somebody else, and that person left, and I thought Mikey got put in that spot, and then
yeah,
for a little bit, and then that's right when Microsoft bought him out. Then he kind of stepped down.
right. But I think the point was like for that one, it was like, and I don't even know if that came from Bobby Kotick or whatever, but it was like, hey, like we've got these two, you know, um, very high up positions, but I'm gonna have, a male and a female that they'll be equal, right? That was the whole thing, right? To be like they're equal in power, right? So I don't know, but then she started complaining about, I'm not getting as paid as much as Mike or something. Anyway, so but yeah. But then Mike opened his big mouth and like, said some dumb shit. But anyway. But this one in regards to their new strategy for Xbox. Because I think once Microsoft did acquire him, Mike quit, right? He's like, I'm out of here, or he got fired.
Yeah, I think he quit
Right? Yeah, he's like, fuck this. I don't want to work for Microsoft again.
again,
I,
right? And
yeah,
he just
again,
couldn't
right?
get
Like,
away from him, right? Like, didn't he
no, no.
like every
I
time he
think the only
leaves,
one
they
that's
kind of like follow him?
Yeah, the only one that stuck around, like notable one, was what's his name? He started. Who am I thinking of that makes um, oh gosh, now I'm trying to think if it's Doom or whatever. No, the fuck. Yeah, the guy from Doom or
I feel
whatever.
like
Id Software.
you're gonna say talking about Borderlands and stuff like Pitchford, Randy Pitchford.
No, not Randy Pitchford.
No,
I forgot his name, but no, he worked on Gears of War over at Epic. That's who actually made Gears of War. Was Epic.
wasn't it Clippy?
No, not Cliffy, because Cliffy went to make his own studio, right? And he made a couple games that failed. So,
Hmm.
oh, his name will pop up. I'm terrible with names, but anyway. So then, like, I feel like he's the only one that kind of stuck around. So, Diablo. So he went to work for Activision, making Diablo. So, um, that guy. So yeah, he's the only one I think that's kind of still there and kind of stuck with it. Like even after, I think Mike called him and said, "Come on, come work for Activision because Microsoft sucks." And then, so then, yeah, he went over there and that, yeah. So then he's like, I guess I'm working for them again, right? So, yeah. Let me see who
Hmm.
makes Diablo, right? Diablo 4. I know who that is, but just seeing if his name pops up here. So, yeah.
Yeah, I
Anyway.
can't think of who you're talking about, but
Yeah, I forgot the guy's name. But anyway, on to the article. So Mikey Barr says Xbox's new strategy is right for the business and needs to be embraced. So he says here, former Blizzard president and executive Mikey Barra has been weighing in. I think he's been weighing in on just like what Phil has been talking about with this new multi-platform strategy over the past few days, advising in a string of social media comments that he feels is ultimately the right move. Ibarra acknowledged that Xbox has taken a while to be clear on the strategy, but has since been consistent in its messaging and told fans that although he understands they may dislike the approach that Phil Spencer and his team have adopted, he believes it's the right thing for the business and players simply need to embrace it. That's right, Mayo. That's right. Stop crying
yep,
and you
embrace it.
fucking
Suck it up.
Xbox fan. Suck it up, Buttercup. That's what it is. Yeah, like fuck. How about fuck you, Mike? I don't need to embrace shit. Okay.
You're gonna like it, Gunny. You don't have a choice.
No, I'm not gonna like it. I'm not gonna embrace it. Are you telling me to bend the knee? I don't know. Kiss the ring, huh? And as you can see, Ibarra is questioning whether Xbox consoles will exist in the long-term future. This is despite new hardware being have confirmed not that long ago. Yeah, that's like a whole nother thing, right? Yeah, man, we're always working on the next console. You know what Phil? You know what Phil did announce, guys? What did he? Okay, what hardware did he announce? A fucking handheld is what he said,
Yeah.
right? He did. He said
And
it. He
that
goes,
could be what they're calling their next console, though, right? Couldn't they
"That's what
technically be
I
like
think." Me
they could be
personally,
done?
I
They could be
really,
done with a standalone hookup to your TV console. They could just be make a portable console and still call
yeah,
Xbox. What's an Xbox? It's going to be everywhere,
right.
including on
Yeah.
your mobile now.
Yeah, I think the question is like, but the more I think about that, I'll just sidestep this article for a second. When I think about, I've said it on this show, I really think it's going to be a handheld, right? But like, okay, but what kind of okay, Mayo? First of all, that handheld, it would have to run everything, right? And how expensive would that be?
Hmm.
I mean, we're probably talking like a minimum of like, I don't know. Well, okay, it doesn't have to run in 4K. It doesn't have to be an OLED, but it does have to run like, I don't know. What's a big game, Mayo? Like what's a big one like AAA? We're talking what?
Well, it's going to have to
Halo,
run. It's going to
Gears,
have to run their
Forza.
triple games. And I guess the question is, will it be streaming? Will it have to stream them, or it has to natively play them, right?
Yeah.
Like we're not going to
Well,
want.
yeah, that's the thing, right? And I guess they could do it. It would have to be at the like this. I don't want to say it's like, oh, it has to be low resolution, because I think about the Steam Deck, right? Where I think, okay, it's not. I don't know if everything just kind of works out of the box, and if it does, right? Let's say, for example, and anybody can go do this right now, where they say, okay, yeah, Gears of War is a verified game on Steam Deck, right? Or I don't even know if it is, but let's just say that one is. Forza Horizon 5 is. Um, what's the new the newest Halo, right? What is that one called? Not the Master Chief Collection, but Infinite, right?
Right.
So it's not new, but it's the newest one. So, and then there, of course, there's the free to play, multiplayer, right? And that can even be a standalone. But okay, so let's just say they're all playable or whatever. But it's not like they're all playing at like get 60 to 90 FPS at quality or above quality settings on a Steam Deck. Because I've had the Steam Deck, I've watched enough of these videos, Mayo, to know that like it just doesn't work like that. And I think I can safely say, without owning it, that I'm sure it's the same with the ROG Ally, right? Or the MSI Claw or something. But yeah, I mean, I'm sure there's a lot of different tweaks or whatever you'll have to do. So that kind of leads me to believe, when I think about all these different tweaks and mods and stuff that you really have to get for your handheld, right? Like a Steam Deck, like an MSI Claw, like, yeah, like these things that, like, I'm like, maybe not, maybe they will go with a traditional console. They probably just don't want
Hmm.
that headache, or say, shit, we have to start, this can't be, I'm sure they're definitely looking at like, Nintendo with their original Switch, where I'm sure, Mayo, when the Switch probably first came out, and I'm like, this is kind of stupid, where I'm like, why are they doing this? Why is Nintendo kind of abandoning the traditional plug in the wall console for this, plug into my TV or monitor, kind of a console hybrid, small little CPU. But hey, I mean, definitely work for them, right?
Yeah, but Nintendo has always like traditionally done very well on their handhelds. Like they've always
That's
had a
true.
pretty
Yeah.
successful handheld.
Yeah. That's another
Like,
point, right? And again, like their games are not like running at this super high resolution. It's not what
yeah, like
fans wanted to begin with, right?
I was
They
talking
didn't want
last
that
week
anyway.
with Jesus. You were gone, but my boy picked up a 3DS, and he recently was been playing it, and he's been buying some old Pokemon games, and some of them don't run the greatest on there, but they still play on there. And the one that
So,
I could not remember last week. Him and I went out to a game store, and he bought it. It was
oh,
Pokemon.
that what you showed me the price on it. I was like,
Yeah,
geez.
Soul Silver version. He paid $170 for this game
So why
used.
was that? Because they only made so many of them? Is that
Um,
the
I
point of
kind of
it?
asked him that too, and I don't know much about him, but he says it's just like a really loved game. And obviously, I'm like, is there just like a rare amount of copies then? He's like, no, there's usually copies around. It's just for some reason really expensive. That
Okay.
just people really like it, and
Yeah.
He said there's one more that I can't remember which one it was, but it was like 200, and so he didn't buy that one yet. But he talked about buying it. And I'm like, well, this
Yeah.
is kind of weird. I'm like he's emulated the games before on PC, so I was like, like, okay, you're just buying this game to play it again. But he's like, well, part of the fun of it is like seeing what the save file was on there, and so he actually went through the save file that someone had on there, right? And he was excited. He's like, the person before him had like, I guess, some really rare Pokemon. Like, again, this isn't my wheelhouse, so he was like, well, you can transfer them from your old games to your current thing, like through this portal thing. And this guy had some like really rare special Pokemon that were like events type stuff. And so he had all these like event type Pokemon, but he was able to save them and transfer them to his game and add it to his collection. So he's got some of these that are more rare, that are harder to get, were like a special event and stuff like that on his games now. And
Nice.
then they had ones that
I
were
wonder
like
if it
level
shows like
100.
I'm sure like if it shows like, yeah, so this happened of like December of 1998. I wonder if it probably might even show the
Yeah, I'm
date
not.
on
Yeah,
there.
I'm not sure if it shows the date, but he was just looking at it. He's like, "Oh, this guy has a level 100 this, 100 that," and he was all excited to go through it and stuff. So now he's working on transferring it to his stuff.
So, question after listening to last week's show, you were talking about like you kept saying the console before, and this is not something I remember because I want to say my son just had the DS. Was that like a separate console
I think
versus
so.
the 3DS?
Yeah,
I don't know if
and
they just like was that more like just a mid-gen upgrade? Was that how that worked?
yeah, and it was just basically a more powerful version, I think. Um, and I didn't even really know a whole lot about it. He said to, and again, this is what my son was telling me. I didn't pay any attention to the mobile market like that. He said when the 3DS came out, it was basically just like more powerful and it could run more of a 3D kind of game. Like instead of just being like a side scroller or something like that, it
Yeah,
became the traditional 3D type games that we're used to. And so that's
yeah.
what
I
it was
couldn't
able to
remember
run.
after
So it was
my
just more powerful.
yeah. I know
And
my
and it
son
had the
had the
two
DS.
screens.
Right. I was thinking there was a difference too, right? That where the regular did not have the second pop-up screen or fold-up screen, correct?
Yeah, I don't think so. I'm not sure. Yeah, it's like I said, it's
Yeah.
out of my wheelhouse.
Right. So yeah, he didn't have it for very long. So, but yeah.
The
But
only
anyway,
only
back to
ones,
the setup.
yeah, the only ones I remember are the Game Gear and the original
Yeah.
Game Boy.
Yeah. Wow, that's going back, right? So.
Yeah, I remember having a Game Gear and that thing would eat some batteries. I'm telling you.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I remember. I told you my brother had all that stuff. I think we talked about that over at Video Game Happy Hour. I'm like, my brother always had like everything Nintendo. So yeah, probably taking the. Damn, was Mayo? Do you remember? Was Game Gear? Did that have the D batteries, like the big ones you'd put in like the radios? Remember when you were a
No,
kid?
I think I'm pretty sure it was double A.
Okay, yeah,
I'm not positive, but I was thinking it was like 6 double A or 4 double A.
yeah.
And
I'm
but it
thinking
would
D.
just
That would have to be a pretty big, device.
yeah. But yeah, it would chew through them pretty fast, I remember.
So you had to get Duracells, man. Pay the extra cost for it, or get your Radio Shack batteries for half price. But yeah. Um, but anyway, back to this article here with Muggy Barra. So he says here, as you can see, he's just questioning whether Xbox consoles will exist in the long-term future. Despite, well, we already read that part. Looking at the rest of Ibarra's responses, he seemed like on the belief that Xbox should be double down on its first-party games and Xbox Game Pass while reducing cost everywhere else. He's not involved in Xbox plans in any way, of course. So, oh, he's now the CEO of Prize Picks these days. Is that like the sports betting thing? I believe it is, right? Just some stupid gambling website. So, but
Yeah, I
he's
believe
clearly
so.
passionate. Yeah, whatever, Mike. You suck, okay? So, um, but yeah, that's what Mike had to say. So I get it, like from Mike's standpoint, right? Like, being up there, like this makes total sense. Cause I remember they were always banging that drum, even Mike when he worked for Xbox. Yeah, man, play the game everywhere. We want cross play. We want people to enjoy the games everywhere. So I feel like that's that's kind of where they're going. So that's happening. But we'll see, Mayo. I've said it before. I think, eventually they'll just, like eventually we'll get to that point where, because right now we're just seeing like, I don't know, Avowed, it's out, right? Or it comes, actually, that game actually, it's been out since I think Thursday or Friday as an early access.
What was it like? Yeah, early access. You paid like extra and you got it like 5 days early, I believe.
Yeah. So, of course, I was out of town. I'm not going to pay for it early. I'll just get the Game Pass version and play that tomorrow. So, but there will be that. So, yeah, I try to avoid a lot of spoilers and the game's a buggy mess, or some people say it's a masterpiece, or it's amazing. So I'll find out for myself. I'll report back next week on that, see how it is. So I know was it Bill Gardner or was it Andrew in our little messenger chat that said it's actually really good? So
I think they both liked it.
yeah, so they paid for the early access, and yeah, so I'm looking forward
I
to
know
it.
I know Bill had paid for the early access.
Okay. Yeah. So looking forward to it. I haven't even, I don't, that'll be the first thing I do in the morning is as soon as whenever it actually releases, I'll be downloading it. I hate doing like the preloads, man. They never work for anything that I have. So yeah, I just wait till it says install available. Let's go.
Yeah.
But anyway, next article here, Elden Ring, Night Rain. So I did not receive anything, Mayo. I signed up for this on that day that it was announced. I forgot where this was announced at, but I was super excited about it. I love Elden Ring. But it says don't worry about missing out on Elden Ring's Night Rain's network test on the PC, which is not happening yet, right? That was supposed to be for Xbox Series S and X and the PlayStation 5. So this happened over the weekend, but nobody could play it anyway. This is what I'm getting. So the weekend's network test did not include the PC players, right? But that was planned. But that won't stop me from watching from the sidelines with a bucket of popcorn while the servers proverbially burn. And also, installing the things on my own PlayStation 5 to give things a whirl, only to find out totally unable to even try this thing out during its first 3-hour run. So, yes. So, first of all, Night Rain's network test is kind of weird. Instead of running for a set period of time, like how most games run their test or betas for 48 hours, instead, it's choosing a sprinkle of 3-hour pockets from now until February 17th. The first session wrapped up at 6 a.m., 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time today. Now that it really matters, since it seems like barely anyone was able to get on the game. So the Elden Ring subreddit is full of folks laughing through the pain as Night Rain servers appear to have crapped out less than 1 hour into the session. I gave things a try myself at around 11:30 UK time, only to be reportedly met with login errors and the title screen. The From Software player support Twitter notes that the game server is experiencing high traffic, making it difficult, before shortly following up with acknowledgments that the whole thing was borked. Currently, there is a malfunction on the Elden Ring Night Rain game server, the account posted. We will restart the service to restore service. Well, that happened around 40 minutes later. Now that it seemed to make much difference, I continue to try myself between 12:30 and 1:30, and the furthest I was able to get was into the hub. The game never actually managed to throw me into a match, forcing me back to the title screen to start the whole thing all over again. I finally gave up before 2 o'clock, resigning myself to a session long before crawling back to my beloved desktop. So yeah, sound like it. I don't know. I didn't hear much. I followed a little bit of it on Twitter X, but yeah, I didn't see anybody actually get in there and get to play much of it. So
yeah, I don't know of anybody either.
Yeah, I think the only kind of like a little short review thing that I read was like, or more of a preview, was where the game felt more like a battle royale. I don't know how many players are actually in the world, or well, I shouldn't say in the world, but but kind of consist on that map at the same time where, yeah. But basically this person talked about it being more of that battle royale versus like a 1v1. So I think the trailer showed like 3 or 4 people at once. So that's kind of cool though. I think I'd rather this be like a battle royale. I'd love to be like, hey man, me, you and Jesus. And we just kind of go in there and, you know, kind of like help each other, right? Like versus like, oh, like it's just me versus like somebody who's been, playing for 30 hours, and
Right.
I'm just kind of starting off the game. Like, even though like, yeah, I played this game before, but I
I've
understand.
struggled
Like,
with
I
this
think,
game so many times. Like I just can't get into it. I
yeah,
actually re-downloaded it and thought I'd try to get in, and I just can't get myself into it yet.
yeah. Mayo, there's some good videos out there. Not like, I feel like none of the cheeses really work, but I'll say this: if you go when you're at that beginning of that game, and there's like that abominable, or there's that giant,
Mhm.
right? That's kind of right there when you first start the game. He's just down the hill a little bit.
Yeah.
So I think that's the video that I started with, where if you just go down there and then you kill him, go to the bonfire, kill him or whatever, like you can get enough of those souls to, what do they call it? Yeah, I think they're just souls in a game, right? Or whatever they call them in Elden Ring. And then you're just kind of leveling up your character that way. So I feel like that was the easiest way to kind of get my character up to level 10 or something. So yeah, I even died a few times, and that was it was very grindy, right?
Mhm.
But I felt like, yeah, that was a pretty quick way. So, and I'm sure there's a lot better YouTube videos out there now that are like, don't do that, go to another location, right?
Yeah,
Travel to another location to try it.
I'm not big on YouTube, like watching a bunch of YouTube videos and doing a bunch of homework before I get into a game, you know? So it's like I kind of just want
Yeah.
to dive in and just naturally find what I find, but like I don't know, I feel like the entry level for it is not just like a normal game.
No, it is not a normal game. And I've said it many times, and I'm sure other people have even said, like, I'm sure even some of the best players are like, how the fuck are you supposed to know where to go and what the story is, or how to get to the castle quicker, right? Without actually going to Reddit or YouTube, right? Come on.
Yeah.
I
Like
know they've
I
kind of
was
watched
lost.
that video or
I was
a video
lost the first
on how
time
to do it.
when I tried playing it first. I'm like, what's going on here and where do I go? You know, like
Yeah. I mean, I don't feel like you have to do a ton of research. I feel like there probably will become a point, man, where you're just like, all right, so now, like, I feel like I've really leveled up. I beat that guy on the horse. I've progressed to the next bonfire, and look at me. I'm just like calling all these things out as if it's a Dark Souls game, but yeah, you're getting to that next bonfire. You're unlocking it, right? But at the same time, I just go in and I'm watching videos like, oh, you know what? Go get this piece of armor, get that thing till that's going to be make your character stronger. Even though like, and normally, again, I'll say this, Mayo, when I watch a video like that, where it's like, okay, how do I get through this area? I don't watch the whole damn video, right? I just watch enough to get me to the next ledge that I need to walk across, right? Because
mhm.
where it's something like, I just can't figure this shit out, Like, how the hell do I get to the other side? I can't fly, I don't have wings, So yeah, I'll go watch a video like down this ladder, move over here, like like yeah, do this thing, do some fucking cartwheels. I don't fucking know, like throw your sword out, blow the door up or something. Like, okay, cool. That's all I need to know,
Mhm.
and that's perfect for me. That's the way I do it. That's my strategy. So, um, because I feel like every time, even in this game where I feel like they're like, you need this weapon to fight this enemy, and you can glitch him and cheese him or whatever. None of that shit ever worked for me. You know, I can't think of any real boss fight that I've ever had where that YouTube video kind of helped me out. I just had to kind of like go with my own strategy of whatever build that you have going.
Mhm.
So I'm just, yeah, I feel like I've always had like a, always had a good strong sword. Oh, another helpful tip, Mayo. Co-op. grab a friend.
Yeah, I haven't tried
Have your
that.
son jump in. Go play. Yeah, I think the other thing you can do is you can the first thing you do when you jump in mail, you can YouTube this too. It's a little confusing. Just go activate the co-op, and hopefully somebody will eventually join you,
Hmm.
and hopefully they have a mic and they can help you and show you where to go. Or yeah, that even could be me, man. Oh, I don't even. Well, I have my son's version on the game, which actually works, by the way, Mayo. So I'll point that out if I didn't say that on the show already. So now that they have like the proper game sharing, I feel like it does say that I can actually play the game, and I feel like I can play it under my. I don't know if it plays under my profile or not. So it's not under his game save. I get my own game save. So
Yeah, yeah, and that's the way it works for me. Like when my son comes over, there's some games that he bought, but when they're installed on my computer, they show up under my library. And if you have the sharing on, you can just play them.
yeah. So it does actually work now. So I was able to play the game. So even though I don't actually own it, so I'm waiting for it to go down in price because I put in my 8,000 hours over on Xbox. So
Yeah, I
and I
bought
never
the
even
game and I
finished. Yeah,
barely,
I never
barely
even
even
finished
touched
it.
it.
I never finished the game, Mayo, but I freaking enjoyed it so much. I even bought the Shadow of the Earth Tree DLC, and then what? I put another 20 hours into it. So, but I definitely made enough progress and got my character leveled up so much. Right, I was able to kill a lot of those bosses to unlock Shadow of the Earth Tree. So there's that, right? So much exploration, and yeah, not much in the way of story, of course, right? You have to go to YouTube for that. You really have to. So there's nothing in the game that's gonna, yeah, explain things. You'll run across something, Mail, where you'll see this statue, and it's pointing in a direction. I'm pointing my hand right now. It's pointing in a
Uh-huh.
direction. Well, I guess you just go that way, right? Right. You'll see that on your map too, where it kind of shows like this flare out, right? Like I guess you're supposed to go up, continue north. Like, yeah, and you have no idea what's north, right? You just kind of go in that direction, and hopefully you can find what you're looking for. So yeah, a lot of mystery in there. I don't know. I really enjoyed doing the YouTube thing of, yeah, where to go next, and what invisible ledge I was supposed to jump on or something. So
Right.
yeah, the other helpful thing I think was um yeah, really just like, oh, like there was a boss I couldn't get through, right? Bill Gardner came in, helped me kill that boss or whatever. I was like, oh, sweet, right? I could have got some other random people, which I've done that too with other bosses. I've done that where you know, opened up the multiplayer, got two people in there, and yeah, some people were cool, some were assholes, right? And like, yeah. So then, yeah, I think you can even like have people come into your game and kill you or whatever, just kind of a versus mode. So there's a lot of that stuff going on as well. So yeah, a lot to offer there. So not story wise, just really just mainly combat. So but anyway, so enough about Elden Ring and Night Rain. So I'm gonna be patient. I'm gonna wait for this. So see how it goes. Let's see here. So I don't know. Is this the same article or whatever? Xbox publishing more games on PS5 than Sony. It's not a gotcha, Mayo. It's just a sign of the time. So should have read this
Mhm.
with the other article with Mikey Barra. So yeah, I guess it's kind of like funny, right? With for first party games and Xbox game coming to PS5. So yeah, and a tedious and predictable aftermath to last week's state of play. A lot of column inches have been written about Xbox potentially publishing more games on the PS5 this year than Sony. So it makes for a dramatic headline on which paints PlayStation as a complacent competitor, coasting while it soaks up the rewards of its rival imploding console business. So it also it's also something that this author saw coming at the start of the year. So it says, I think Microsoft will be PS5's biggest publisher in 2025. Your humble host, navel gazed in our January predictions post. So since then, The Redmond firm has announced Forza Horizon 5, Age of Empires 2, and Age of Mythology for the PS5. The rumor mill says Hellblade 2, Gears of War Trilogy, Halo, and the Master Chief Collection. And we don't even have time to list, or even have the time to the list are coming. So, but yeah, so just kind of reading down here, it says, in fact, well, the very idea of Xbox Game Studios bringing over more titles to the PlayStation than Sony itself, making for an eye-grabbing headline. It also strips the story of context. Microsoft is plunging deep into the back catalog and porting old favorites on top of releasing new games. Forza Horizon 5 will perform well on the PS5, but we can't ignore the fact that it's already almost 4 years old. So I don't know. This article goes on and on and on, but yeah, I think. Well, I've already said it before, right? We'll just eventually just see like, hey guys, we're just announcing this game. I think even like Phil Spencer said it like in a recent interview with Xbox Era, and he just basically said that, if, for example, for their games going forward, like they will show the logos of like the Nintendo Switch 2 or PlayStation 5. He'll actually put that in like the videos, not him, but the company. So yeah, there won't be that, what we've kind of always seen before, right? Like I remember this thing, Mayo, where remember before they even like, I don't even think it was an announcement. They just started doing it right around the Game Pass where everything's day one on PC, right? When Phil kind of took over.
Right.
So yeah, everything's just day one. That's just how it is and how it's been. And nobody ever batted an eye at it, right? Like, what the hell, man? What the hell? That's not really technically an exclusive. I think, yeah, like what's happening right now. But yeah, that's kind of where we're at now, right? Where just like
Now
yeah.
now the big thing is like, is it really day one? Because now you're getting all these like pay extra to get it early. So
Yeah,
now
that's kind of
like,
been that's always been around, right? I feel like
like
a lot of your AAAs.
Michelle was talking about that on VGO. Like it's like, like, are you really getting it on day one when other people are, like Bill's been playing this game 5 days earlier because he paid that extra money, even though he's probably playing it on Game Pass, but he paid extra to get it to it early. So like, are you really getting it on day one?
Yeah, yeah. Right. So
I mean,
I remember
yes, you're getting on the launch date, but no, you're not the first one to play it.
gosh, I know I'm sure Call of Duty used to always do it, but I always bought like the Battlefield. I can remember, I couldn't even tell you what it was. It might have been Battlefield. I want to say it was Battlefield 3, Mayo. That um that I remember when I'm trying to think if that game even had like shit. That was probably back on 360, right? So then I'm sure you had. It was kind of hit or miss, right? Where the game was whether it was digital or disc, right? But of course, I just bought disc back then. Go to Best Buy, pre-order your game or whatever. And I remember I was kind of salty even back then because I'm like, not paying whatever it was back then. It was like $70, right? It was yeah, I think the games were 49. But if you paid like, yeah, whatever, $69, you can play the game 3 or 4 days early. And yeah, same thing with like, but a lot of games did it, right? Even Borderlands did that same thing. I swear back in the day where my friends would be like, we pay the extra premium pack. We're going to be level 20, Gunny. So sorry, buddy. Yeah. So when you do
Right.
join us, we'll be so overpowered. Yeah. Yeah. That always got me. But yeah, I'm pretty sure, Mayo. I'm trying to think back Battlefield. I was like, I can't afford to pay the extra premium pass, So yeah, I was like, no, I'm not gonna do it. So, but anyway, moving on. Let's see here. Let's see here. Nintendo establishing ways to respond to U.S. tariffs. So I don't know if that's still up in the air. I have not been following it. So
Me either.
let's see what the article
I mean,
says here.
this is as of yesterday, so
Yeah, I try to get the latest on it. So it says here earlier this month, the current administration implemented a 10% tariff on all goods imported from the country of China. So while the full effects of this increase is yet to be seen, it poses a potential price hike for consoles, accessories developed in China, which is naturally a cause for concern for both the consumer and developer. I think we can talk about this article for anything going forward, right? I would
Yeah.
trying to think of it's not like we're going to see, I don't know, maybe if like, you know, PS5 Pro, I don't know, like how many, who knows how many are actually in stock in America, and they would probably be okay for the next year, right? So, I mean, hopefully that's not even an issue going forward. And Xbox, whatever, they don't sell consoles anymore, right? So, um, acknowledging the Nintendo president, Shuntaro Furukawa has said that the company is looking into the potential impacts that tariffs could have on the upcoming financial year and the launch of the Switch 2. So, as reported by Reuters and translated by Nintendo Everything, uh, Furukawa explains that in a press conference that the company is predicting various geopolitical risks and establishing ways to respond. Nintendo Switch is not only manufactured in China, Furukawa noted, but in places such as Vietnam and Cambodia. So I talked about this a couple weeks ago, right? Because I gotta say, man, one of the things I do well is, with my YouTube is I try and stay in the know of things like, I don't know, it could be anything manufacturing, right? Chips or, I don't know, clothing or any cars or stuff like that. So, just kind of see how things get shipped around the world, right? Whether it's like how we kind of view things where, oh, it only comes from China, right? But no, like so many things have to go into it, right? So even like a lot of these, chips that might be in, I don't know, it could be made in, like I said, like, yeah, trying to think of even the name of the country, but right, like Cambodia, Vietnam, um, could be South Korea, whatever, right? And a lot of these things then have to work their way up to China, right, to be assembled, then put on a freaking ship, right, to get here to America and other places around the world, right? So, along with that, even like other things, right, that like say, hey, we ship all these parts, and there is an assembly plant in the United States, right? So, where it meets other things. So, yeah, it's crazy just how shit works like that. So, but moving on here, yeah, he didn't. Nintendo president didn't comment specifically on fiscal year 2025-2026 and the launch of the Switch 2, though there's every chance that the impact might be greater. So, Nintendo expanded its manufacturing operation outside China in 2019 when proposed tariffs once again threatened to drive up prices in a rare display of unity. Nintendo, Sony, and Microsoft joined forces to pen a letter to the US government warning of the tariff's negative effects on the gaming industry should console sales not be exempt from the increased prices. So it says here the letter led to a successful outcome for the companies in 2019 through 6 years later. No such exemption currently seem to be in place. We'll have to wait and see just how minimal of an impact the price increases have on consumer spending where there's a hot new console on the market. So, yeah, I don't know, and of course we don't have any details on our current administration or just what gets a tariff, right? Like, I don't know. Is it something specific that gets 10 and some get 5 and some get 0? I have no idea, but yeah. I don't know. We'll find out. Yeah, it's going to be right. That would be the thing, right? I didn't think about that. If like, if the Switch 2 comes out, Mayo, next week and says, "Hey, $400 for the base edition," right? So, what if tariffs are a thing, right? When it comes to manufacturing, right? I guess they would have to kind of, do a 360 on that pricing, right? And say, "Sorry, 450 is what we actually meant," right? So that's going to
Yeah.
be that'll be the thing, I think.
Yeah, I don't know. Like I said, I think maybe they kind of will plan for it. And when they do release an official price, we'll just kind of like just go with it as a consumer. Like we probably won't even think about why it's that price, if there's a tariff involved, or if it would have been cheaper or not. We'll just buy it
Yeah.
regardless, unless it's like some crazy price. which I think my cutoff was probably 500 probably per unit.
Yeah,
I feel
yeah.
like
Base
after
comp.
500, I feel like I'm overpaying. So
Yeah. Yeah, I think I'm gonna say what did I say before when I think Jesus was asking us like, our predictions, and I think I said four, you said
yeah,
450 or
yeah.
whatever.
My guess was 400.
400, yeah. So now I'm thinking like with this like tariff thing looming, and whether or not, these electronics are gonna be included in I don't know. So then I'm gonna say like maybe they're gonna go with probably 450 to 500, closer to that, right? So then, because especially coming from Nintendo, I feel like they're definitely like that company that's not going to be like that doesn't want to be made out to be liars, right? When they say one thing and they find out that manufacturing is like, oh shit, like this is
Right.
not the price that we actually agreed on, or that we announced. So there's that. Um, but anyway, I think that's all I got for news. I guess Jesus never showed up, man. Oh
No,
well, you
he's
know.
probably over there playing Kingdom Come
I think I did see him
or
playing that. So,
Norland. Yeah.
or Call of Duty.
Yeah,
So
he's either doing one of those.
yeah, but there's that. That's all
Yeah.
I've got. Um, but yeah, there was something else I was going to bring up. Totally forgot what it was. So, it probably had something to do with handhelds or Steam decks or whatever. So forgot what it was. But not much news over on that front. I think the MSI Claw 2 or something came out. So I think it might have been last week or something. So just another iteration of a freaking handheld. So there's that.
There's getting to be a lot of
I know
them.
what it was, Mayo. This was something I wanted to bring up to you. Was I follow Dustin Legary, formerly from IGN, and I'll watch occasionally. I'll see his little tweets and watch his. I think he does like a streaming on YouTube on Sundays, and I'll go back and kind of watch a little bit of it, and I always appreciate his take on things, and he's got a different view on I definitely feel like he's definitely very Xbox centric, even though he won't admit it, right? That's just my opinion. So where people call him like, you hate PlayStation or whatever, even though he owns one, and we'll test him and he'll play the games. But anyway, so like what he was talking about, I think he was talking about something on the PlayStation itself, but damn, now lost my train of thought, man. What the fuck he was trying to get at, but
Got derailed.
I'm telling you, yeah, talking about this guy, but anyway, I'm tired, man. I'm gonna get the hell out of here. So
Yeah, me too. It's been a long day. I've been up for
yeah,
almost 24 hours now. 23 hours.
that was a long drive to get back here, guys. So I got a lot of gaming to do first thing in the morning. It'll be nice having the 2 days off too
Nice.
to get in there and play
Yeah,
some
I
more
am back.
Kingdom
I am
Come.
back to work tomorrow. I gotta go back in 3 hours. So
Yeah. Oh, I know what it was, Mayo. Before I forget, and that was that he was talking about shit. Fucking now I lost the damn article he was talking about. Shit. Where the hell is? Hold on, Mayo. Let me find that thing right here. So he was talking about console sales, right?
Mhm.
So, and this was something that was been brought up on other things. You don't see it that often where even Phil Spencer would say it, like where he talks about like console sales are down or whatever, right? And then people love to argue over on Twitter X. And these are not even people I follow or whatever. I might just like see a community of people and they're just like, they're going ape shit about, no, they're not. Cause look at PlayStation where they just announced like, what have they sold? Like 75 million consoles. Like it's a new record, right? Of consoles itself, which is, pretty high. So they'll say it's not growing. It's not growing. They did 76 million PS4s by this time, but it's only 75 million PlayStations. for PlayStation. Yeah. So right, just more console warring stuff, but um, I think but over the last like couple of years, I've seen people like agree with him, and it might be like the global inflation thing, Mayo. So, but I have a question for you, Mayo. So, do you think like there is some truth to this, but do you also think that, and this is, and I could be wrong, where I think like, well, maybe more people are jumping into PC gaming, or maybe they've moved over to the handheld market, right? And they've kind of spread it out over like, you know, a Steam Deck, an Ally, a Claw, or some. I don't know. Maybe they've kind of gone that direction. So yeah, or maybe they just never bought the console because they couldn't afford it, and they didn't buy a PC. So what do you think it is, right? That if it's just inflation or something
Yeah, I don't know. I
based.
mean, it seems like a lot of people are going to PC gaming. It seems like at least like a lot of people I talk to that have always been console gamers. They're like migrating over to PC. Like this, it seems like more and more.
There's got to
So
be, yeah, because you're right. Because there's got to be a chart somewhere where, and it's probably on Steam. There's some sort of, I'm sure there's an analytics to say, well, here's what it is, right? To say that, we've seen that increase over the last 2
well,
years.
I mean, I remember reporting a couple of times where we've seen the news where Steam announces they have a record amount of users, and it keeps growing.
Yeah.
So it's like I just feel like the movement of the younger kids. It seemed like there's more younger kids getting on PCs, and I think that was like Fortnite had a lot to do with that. I think a lot of kids were wanting a PC for Fortnite, and that kind of generated a little bit of a boom because all these kids, oh, I want a PC, I want a gaming PC. I've been and like
Yeah.
older kids, like, oh, I want to play Fortnite at better frames because it's gonna make me better. Like so. And I think that just encouraged a lot of kids to get PCs and stuff.
Yeah, I would say so too. And I always feel like I always go back and use Ninja as that example of I don't even know where that guy streams anymore. I assume he's still doing it and making millions of dollars each month, right? Whatever freaking game he's playing now, I have no idea. So he's probably over on Facebook or something, but um yeah, or on Kick. I have no freaking clue. So I don't see him on I don't even see him on Twitch anymore. So not that I scour and follow people over there, but yeah. So then he's always had that like, hey, look at me. I'm on a mouse and a keyboard, right? Like this is my setup. This is how I play, right? So pretty clear. So I definitely think like he had a lot to do with that. So yeah. Encourage the kids to get their PC, right? So
Yeah.
but I don't know. So yeah, I think when they kind of leave it at that, like their counts of sales not growing, man. We need to piss on the PlayStation people or whatever. Like, but leave it at that. I'm like, yeah, but look how many they've sold millions, right, or whatever. And probably who knows, maybe those Xbox gamers might have skipped over the PS5 and went straight to the fucking PC. So there's that, right? People are gonna game, man. They're gonna do it. So
Yeah. Well, PCs where a lot of stuff's going too, because now you can play your Sony games here, you can play your Game Pass games here, and you
yeah.
can play your PC stuff here. So it's like
If you're
everything's
patient
kind of
enough, right?
yeah,
If you're
yeah,
patient
exactly.
enough. Yeah. So yeah, I've got a couple PlayStation games I'm waiting on. Stellar Blade. I'm waiting for that one to come.
Yeah,
So I think if I check now, somebody said it's on there. So and also let's see here. It is. This was a thing because there's a guy I follow on here. Mail, you can now go ahead and buy. Was it Spider-Man 2? I think that
yeah, that's out
Ja-
now.
it's out now. So January 30th, that is out now. You can actually go and buy that. So yeah. Yeah, I did watch a couple little
Yeah,
tech
good
tests
game.
on that. So yeah. So not running great on a Steam Deck or Ally, but yeah, not smoothly, but running great on PC. But anyway, that's
All right.
all I've got,
Well,
man.
real
So
quick before we get out of here, Gunny, we did have a question on podcast questions in the Discord this week. Crafty jumped on and he said, late here for today's show, but actually we were up kind of late, so it worked out. He said, but this came up today and he wanted to know our thoughts. His question is, what generation of consoles is considered retro to you?
ooh, That's funny because I had brought that up when I think when I think it was when Xbox One came out, right? And so obviously being the Xbox fan, going from like the 360 and then over to one, I'm like, hey guys, I'm retro gaming. LOL. You know, like playing still had my 360 hooked up or something, um but no, I feel like yeah, what would that be, Mail? Like, I mean, obviously we know, like, you know, Nintendo,
Well,
Sega, all that.
for me, when if I think of like of a retro game, I'll probably go back as far as maybe like PS1 era, like kind of the start of the 3D stuff. Mario 64, PS1, kind of that era.
Yeah,
PS2 started becoming a little better. But it's still kind of retro, but
right.
I would say PS2 would be the latest, I would say, for me.
Yeah, I would agree with that, right? So,
Like
what?
if I think of a PS3 game, I think it's probably going to be a remastered game, but it's not going to be, it's not that old, I guess, in my mind.
Yeah, right. Because I remember my mother's one of her ex husband, like I remember when I think he had was it the PlayStation 2 with the siphon filter, right? When that came out. And that was a generation that was a console that I missed, right? So, but I was like, what are you playing? He goes, it's called Siphon Filter. I was like, oh, that looks pretty cool, you know? I want to play it. So then I remember playing it, but yeah, like being on that. I don't know. Maybe that was PlayStation 1 Siphon Filter. I could be wrong. So, with timelines or whatever. But, yeah, I think I just read an article recently that game's like 20 years old or plus. Some shit like that, but yeah. Yeah, I'm thinking like retro. I always think like Nintendo GameCube or whatever. I always think GameCube and anything below that. So anything older
Nice.
than that. So yeah. But I don't do much. I don't do retro gaming really. I've always had interest in it. Like I think when I first joined the show mail, I was like, oh, get me one of those retro Pi things or whatever, so I could play these,
I like
some of these.
Raspberry Pi.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I always wanted one of those, right? To kind of tinker with and play older games. So
Mhm.
yeah. Oh, yeah. And then the only other thing I did besides that was like, because I always want to play what's new, what's the best thing to play. So the latest and the greatest, like, and that was having the Switch. And when you did the family thing with what was it called on the Switch, Mayo, where you can kind of do like up to 10 people when you pay the $3 a month or whatever it is,
I don't
or
remember.
$5 a month. So that was the backwards compatibility thingy-majigger, like with your NES
They had those consoles, yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So then, yeah, I just remember playing, yeah, some retro games on that. So that was cool. Till I sold my Switch, but yeah, that's all we got for the show, guys. Go follow Jesus as Jesus walks a lot. Jesus walks a lot on everything. He's a big steamer over there. So, and go find me, Gunny Chief. One word. I'm over on the Steam and the Xbox ecosystem, and yeah. Where do we find you, Mayo?
Yeah, you can find me everywhere. You can find me on Discord. You're gonna find me, I mean, mainly Discord, but on PS5, playing a couple different games, playing some more Astrobot, finishing up Metaphor over in Xbox Land over there, and then continuing to push a little bit through Kingdom Come, and maybe some more Indiana Jones if I can get it running right yet. So maybe, like I said, maybe
Yeah.
I'll pick it up on Steam and go that route. So I'm not
Uh,
sure yet, but
Yeah, find out first before you go pay that money, right? They might be like, no, it's the
yeah. Like
same
I said,
buggy
I can do a
problem.
rental for 2 hours. I can try it, and
Yeah. So
especially while I'm not real far into the Xbox version because I'd have to start over because the save file wouldn't carry over, I'm sure.
right.
So, but it might be
Cool.
a good time to do that.
All right.
All right.
All right, guys. Peace out. Till the next show. Thank you guys for listening. We out. Peace out. Bye.
The